Hey Joe, how are you?
How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Oh, good, good. We ready to go?
Yeah, we're ready to go. We're gonna be on in like 20 seconds.
Okay. I have some family over, so you might hear.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, let's do it. Hi everyone. So today is our second session regarding the SEO topic which we've been discussing. So thought today we'll discuss some WordPress plugins. I know there's a lot of WordPress users in our group. So we'll cover some WordPress plugins. Probably the session is not to be that long. And I have with me Joe and Wynne today. So, Safi, please. Okay. Sorry about that.
Hello.
Hey, hi. Hi. Hi, Joe. Hi, Wynne. How are you?
Yeah.
We have a
Hey
dog here
guys.
also.
Hello.
How you guys doing?
Good. How you going?
Good evening, good afternoon, good morning.
Sorry,
Good.
I have muted
Good
myself
evening.
just for to get this over with.
No, no problem. So, let's see how many people we got on today. All right.
Hey, Jason.
Jason, how's it going? Neelish, bring the puppy on the camera. It's okay.
It's okay? Yes, Safi, come here. Say hello. Say hello. Come on. Say hello.
There
Hello.
you go.
Oh, thank you, Safi. Thank you. I love you too. Yes, thank you very much. Okay, okay, that's good.
Safi just wants to be on the show.
Yes, she loves it.
Is that right?
She
Do you think she really does?
Not really. Yeah. Yeah.
what are Safi's thoughts on SEO?
Yes. Yes. Well, she can express it in a very few words. Boo, boo, boo. That's it.
Yeah. Well, keep it simple. Yeah,
Yes, keep it
that's what
simple.
I always tell people when I'm training them. Keep it simple, stupid.
Hey, so we have a few folks already here. Kudos to them for watching a 3 hour session yesterday and show up today. So that's great. And kudos to you guys for showing up as well, because I figured you must be tired after yesterday, but apparently not. So that's great. So
I
shout
taught.
out.
I actually taught a 3 hour art class just now as well. So I guess I'm used to 3 hour sessions.
Wow. Wow. That's brilliant. Brilliant.
That's awesome. We're
So,
actually going to have a wine and art event. My wife teaches yoga at a boat club, so it's really lovely. It overlooks the water, and she's also the events manager for that. For the establishment that they're in, and so I'm going to be going along to their wine and art. Wine and painting.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, they call it like a sip and paint party. I taught two of those once, and
Oh
it
yeah.
was insane. It was like 100 people in a restaurant, and everybody was just drinking, and it was chaos. It was those paints and the drinking, and
Gosh.
it was a lot of fun, but
Really?
definitely a little different. Yeah.
Flipping heck.
wow. Okay. Hi, Jason. I'm, I'm surprised you showed up today as well. Hi, Lyle. How are you doing? And then we have Unes. Hi, Unes. How are you? And then we have a few other people. So that's great. I'm sure as we get through the session, maybe more folks from India will show up, and those who would like to sleep late in North America. So
Quick question for you, Nilesh.
yes.
How did the writer interview go today for you?
Yes, it went well. I think they are on the right track in terms of. I'm very skeptical about AI based copywriting. Like I've got like I had headline, I got the discount on conversion.ai. I tested it. It just wasn't doing it for me. I didn't understand the appeal. I mean, I'm sure now it appeals to a lot of people. Must be great for sure. They are getting results. But after a few tries, I was like, no, not worth it. And this was my second try, second shot at conversion actually. So I was like, let it go. Then so headline I was pretty happy with, and I've tried a few others. Closest copy I tried when it was really early last year, around August.
Don't say closest copy. We've got Casey on. He's not going to enjoy that comment.
Yeah, no, no, no. It was last year. It was last year, to be fair, and I think Nico would agree that it wasn't developed then. So kudos to him. I mean, for doing a good job and keeping up with it. But writer, I was very impressed. What Joe had mentioned as well. So based on which, I'm pretty happy with writer. And overall conversation with Abhi was very good. I think he's on the right track for sure. Made a lot of sense, a lot of questions answered. Uh, yeah, I think you could check it out for sure. Oh,
Yeah, I watched
Casey's
half
here.
of it. It was a good interview, definitely.
That's what I
Yes.
just said. I said Casey's here. Don't mention closest copy.
No, in good light, of course. I've never mentioned it in like anything bad about it. Like I'm just saying that when last year when I had it, I wasn't very sure. It was real cheap at the time for sure, right? And
Yeah.
still, and there was no AI component to it at that as well. So it's come along really well. Looking at it now, so yes, I mean he's done a great job, right? So.
Yes, it actually has really good tool. It's quite polished.
Are you
Uh,
following the drama around closest copy and phrase a little bit? Maybe Joe can give us an update on that.
oh yeah.
Oh yeah, I
It's
sent
not-
both of
yeah.
you a message earlier about that. I just put up a nice little Photoshop too in the group if you want to see.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I just posted a meme. Everything's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Tag
actually
tag
shared.
tag Tommy. He's in the group. Tag him.
Yeah, I have to give him credit. Tommy's definitely he tries to get in front of these things. I know a lot of people, including myself. I was upset with Phrase for a while, but with their billing part of the platform, but it was something that they had to work on, and it just seems like they have a lot of fires to put out this year. Sorry, we have my daughters are screaming in the back.
Oh, that's great. No worries at all. No worries.
But I think they definitely need to do something with the PR. They need to hire a PR guy, or maybe my daughters can go work for Phrase and they could help. They could scream at. I have a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old, and it's 10 o'clock p.m. in New York, and they're still
Oh my
awake.
gosh.
Yes.
And
Really?
the 2-year-old will go to sleep soon. The 4-year-old will be up probably till 1 a.m. She's an artist, a creative, so she follows her old man, and that's Scarlett.
Nice. Giving it heaps.
Bring her on the stream. We can test her SEO knowledge.
Leah would probably come on. She ran by before. We'll probably see her in a bit. But yeah, back to Phrase. The issue was that they I guess used some open source content from that a contributor to Closer's Copy, and she shares in all the groups. And I guess they Tommy admitted to it that they did grab it and didn't give her credit, and they're, I guess, making money off of that, which she thought was unfair. She said, yeah, anyone can use my my content, but putting it in there and not announcing it, I guess that's gotten them in a bit of trouble. But kudos to Tommy. He kind of got in front of it today and said, hey, yes, we've done this. We're going to reach out to all the providers that we've used information from, and this also gets back to what we were discussing a couple of sessions ago about duplicate AI content being out there. If Phrase is grabbing content that's out there and other people are doing it, and then everyone starts producing it, spitting it out there, you're gonna have a lot of duplicate content on the internet. So I'm even looking at this as, oh man, Phrase is already using duplicate content. And then she was writing her content, and then people are using that. I get worried about that.
Yeah, and maybe they did in the context of things. I mean, I'm not, any type of plagiarism is not a good idea for sure. Like, you should display some sort of credits. Uh, and I've seen her notes today because of this.
You're getting an echo, Nilesh.
I'm getting an echo. How's that?
Still there.
Is it the echo from our speakers being on, not wearing headphones? Maybe.
Hold on, I'll turn mine off and see if it's still there.
I don't hear any echo.
Hello, how's that?
Yeah, try again.
Is that better? Is that better?
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, it's really
okay. Okay. So so I'm not sure exactly which templates were copied. I saw some video, but I think there was one particular template. I'm not sure about rest of the templates, but maybe one was for sure, which was in that video, right? So there are, I mean, if you look at any AI copy tool, it has a similar kind of template. So if you go into Headline as well, for sure. Yes, I'm not denying that she did not put any hard work into it. I'm sure she did, right? But my point is, like, we are talking about, if you look at some of those templates, a lot of those AI tools would have a similar framework or a template. So I saw one template being copied. I'm not sure about the rest. Do you know, or does anybody know that they copied all her templates?
it's not.
Yes.
I mean, what it does is phrase crawls through all of the questions, through all of the web results, but it's obviously also crawling through Notion. It's using Notion as a search engine, right? So when people are Quora, Reddit, Notion, it's just going through and scraping data. That's what Phrase does,
Yes.
I think it's a storm in a teacup myself, but I think it's kind of funny. I do kind of enjoy the drama.
Yeah, the drama always shows up around Friday, just in time for the weekend. I shared the Phrase information with someone that runs one of the largest SEO Facebook groups, and he was like, he posted it, and right away he said, "This is Phrase is just one of another web scraper, just another scraping the internet information, and people are hyping it up. I think it's a useful tool, it's a good tool, but definitely the fanboys are out. If you say anything about Phrase, they come after you and say, leave them alone. I think, like what you're saying, Wynne, is they just had so many, I guess, bumps in the road this year with AppSumo and some things that weren't in their control. So it's easy to kind of attack them as well. So this time I'm kind of in the middle. I'm not, my situation with them was I spoke to one of the founders, and I didn't like the interaction I had with him, and I didn't post it on Facebook. I'm not gonna, do that and blow it up. But he basically blamed me. He wouldn't admit that there was a problem with the billing system on Phrase, and I was charged incorrectly for 3 months, like triple the price.
Really?
And I just said, yeah, and I just pointed out to him, and this was during the whole Phrase reseller thing with that guy that was selling we're dealing with that. So I know that they were very busy. And I had we went back and forth for one evening on email, And he goes, I just said, I just want to let you know, I like Phrase. It's a great tool, but there is a problem with your billing system. And I have all the emails and I have all the invoices. And he said, nope, there's no problem with the billing system. It's you're doing something wrong. And this is the same kind of thing he was doing to the AppSumo people, the folks who bought on the resale market. He said, oh, the users are scammers. The way he was wording things, it wasn't polished. And all I wanted from him was to say, yeah, you're right, Joe, there is a problem with our billing system. But no, he didn't say
I'll go
that.
have a look at it. I don't know, but let's go and have a look at it. And
Yeah. What he said, he goes, you know what? He got very upset. He's like, I'm telling you right now, this is not on our end. This is an issue. And then I produced every email, and he said, you know what? I don't have time for this. I'm just going to refund your money, for the issue. And I said, you know what? I actually charged $75 an hour. I wasted all time going back and forth with you tonight, and you could keep the money. It's not worth it. But I was a little upset, but I was more upset that he was so sensitive and so defensive about the issue, but I still use the product. I'm not refunding it. I still have the add-on. I see people today saying, oh, today everybody's saying, oh, we're refunding. We're getting rid of this tool. You know what? If the tool works for you, use it. If some people love it, I don't use it every day. I don't need it, but I do like what they're doing. And Tommy, he seems like a good guy. He's out there trying to put out fires, and I think
as other people are starting them. Some people are starting them, and other people are trying to put them out.
I just think that's an example of they need a good PR firm to help them out and to be a little more proactive and don't talk down to your users. It wasn't just me. I've heard it from multiple people.
Dangerous, man.
Yeah,
very dangerous.
It's very dangerous.
One person can start an abominable fire for your product, and all it takes is them to get determined that they're going to destroy your business. That's all it takes. You motivate them enough, and that one person can cause.
Yeah, I'll tell you.
Sorry, carry on.
To your point, no. Just talking related to your point, Wynne. You asked me about how the writer, session go, and there's one person who had.
I saw that.
I saw that. I saw that. Yeah.
So he posted some screenshots. Fair enough, right? We're not going to delete anything, of course.
If he didn't stop, I carried on.
And I want him to be taken care of for sure.
Sure, of course.
But if you look at the screenshot, it says, well, his credit card company had a problem, right? So, I mean, if you are a SaaS founder and if you have a user whose credit card cannot be billed, what do? You probably send reminders at some stage. You'll be like, oh, okay, I'm going to delete this account, right? And so that's what probably they did. And they said, well, you're welcome to join us again. I mean, of course, the user is not happy. So, I mean, the best way for him to do and for them to do is to go and resolve it and not let this thing, escalate, right? Like we saw the same issue with Git Scrum, right? That's the thing. It's just like everybody. Yes.
It wasn't just one person, though. It was like, and here's another 10 people that come out of the woodwork. Holy heck.
Yes.
It's like, okay.
So don't do that to users, and you're good, I think.
But founders, we understand founders are humans as well. There's a balance.
Sure. I'm not frustrated.
I've had interacted with other founders that were not very good on social media or emailing. They would just block you, remove you from their group if you question their tool in any way, or you're trying to help their tool, which I did with one tool in particular, and they just deleted my comments and removed me from the group. Because I was just...
I don't even want to get started on that.
Just trying to help,
I'll tell you a story. So with GitScrum, Renato, he was like, I was like, hey, restore Kartik's account. And then he's like, hey, I need his passport. I said, well, why exactly do you need his passport, right? So he was like, hey, you know, I mean, I'm not going to say, and Karthik is my friend too. He's like, hey, the guy reported me to Portuguese tax authority. So I was like, okay, uh,
There's more
but
than one side to the story.
yeah. So anyway, it's restored, is upgraded, all is good, and it stays here.
All right.
But
All right. So that's a good transition into SEO. So we're back to SEO tools today, are we?
yeah, yeah, and this
Yeah, we
can
can go
be
over anything. I mean, if people in the comments want to talk about something particular, it doesn't have to be SEO. It could be the tools too. If you want, we could go in
yeah,
any direction.
yeah,
Before we go to SEO tools, can we talk about Writer, Joe? Because I feel as though you know a bit more Writer than probably Neelish and myself. How are you using? I mean, I know how I would use Writer, right? Okay, so if you're using Writer and you're using it to auto generate all your text, I mean that's one thing. I think here's a couple of use cases that I'd be using Writer for. So we've talked about phrase. I think one of the strong points of phrase, and I think it's underestimated how powerful this is that you can use it to really scrape really great citations. So you're citing another site, you're citing a work,
Yep.
and you can quote part of that sentence. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you're taking the entire article, there might be pieces in that you grab out, and then you could feed those into Writer or even into Closes copy, and you just type the little instruct rephrase, and then it just rephrases it. And I think probably Writer is doing a better job of this. So that's one use case. Another use case is that I've mentioned before, which is that when you are testing angles, like let's say most people are not going to do this. They're just going to do their keyword research, figure out the competition for it, figure out what their likelihood of ranking is, how long it's got to be, what kind of mentions it's got to be in there. That's how people are using those tools. But I would say that if you are serious about generating value for your company, and it depends on obviously on the type of business that you're doing, but I would be testing different appeals, and I would be using Writer and Closes. So I have a friend, Calvin. Calvin might be even watching this at some point, who is just a gun copywriter. He's a world-class copywriter, and I referred him to Closes copy to check out, and he raves about it. So the way he's using it is to he feeds in an idea, and then Closes copy is just coming back with idea after idea after idea, and each one is a different angle. So then he'll take those and he'll put them into an ad with very, very basic ad. It's exactly the same ad with the text overlaid over the top, and then he'll test that rapidly, and he uses that to get quick signals about which way the market is heading, and that gives him insight into what kind of angle, what kind of theme he's going to write about before he even worries about the headline. You know what I mean? And the value of that is just massive. We're talking, if you can do this kind of research up front, I'm talking the value of that research can be worth tens of thousands of dollars. So anyway, that's just a couple of ways that I'd be using these tools. I know that you got from an SEO perspective, I know that you've got more nous than me when it comes to that. How are you using Writer?
Well, with the phrase, back to that, I agree that is a great research tool. Kind of organizes everything from Google. Even without the paid add-on with the AI, just to start off, you could start with phrase and then go to Writer. So you get the research from phrase, and then you kind of put in the question or the topic you want to start discussing, and then Writer will spit out some nice content, some options. You select which one, and then you could expand on it in Writer, but I would take it to Closes copy and extend it there. I'm still working on Closes copy because I haven't been I haven't used it actually in a couple of weeks now, so I haven't been so happy with the quality of what it produces, the content. I think sometimes I'm spending more time, and I could just go to Writer and then write the rest myself. Writer I've been using more for social media, cold email, just to get started on email, some web 2.0s, some content for that for SEO, supporting websites that would send to my money site. I haven't used any AI yet on any of my money sites. I try to keep it just for test reasons, and then I also will use it for, like I said, social media marketing. I think it's very helpful. Or to, if I have to, I have a press release. I'll use Writer on the press release to summarize the press release or to give a nice heading for it. And I use niches as well, Content Bot, and PepperType. I'm using all of them, a little bit of here and there, because I'm still testing out these tools, figuring out what each one does the best. But for SEO, really mainly, I am still writing myself, hiring writers to do it, or spinning content. I'll spin content. Like that's what happened with the phrase situation. They could have just spinned her content and put it in. It would have been, no one would have known. But they actually just took it, got too lazy, didn't even spin it, didn't rephrase it, And I'd rather use a tool like Quillbot to spin some things that I like, write a little that I, add my own stuff to it, and then put it through Surfer SEO, optimize it, boom, it's ready to rock. In a day, it's ranking. AI is it's a whole nother ball game, and I think, I believe, I'm not sure, but maybe the AI writing tools, people are enjoying them, especially if you're writing in English and it's not your first language. Because I'm seeing a lot of people overseas who's like, I really need Writer, I really need PepperType. Could that be a possibility of why the AI tools are becoming more popular around the world? I'm always, at first I was just thinking about for my own, writing. And even though English is my first language, I am no expert at it. I still like to write in crayon if I can.
Okay, I get that. So obviously tools like Lovo and PlayHT, when it comes to generating a Western sounding voice that sounds listenable, still sounds a little bit robotic to me, to be honest. And I can understand the AI thing. Yeah, okay, I agree with you. Like the way I prefer to write copy is I will use an audio recorder, or I'll use Otter AI. Otter AI is free. Happy Scribe, you got to pay like $60 or $70 even for a license. You can still get Happy Scribe for cheap, and you're recommending Pictory to replace that. So even if you're not using all the other stuff that's in Pictory, you can use the transcription. So that's kind of like the way I work. I personally use Otter.ai, and it's free. I just talk into it, and it transcribes my words. Then I copy and paste that into phrase. So that's the way I work.
You know what a good hack is? You reminded me, whenever I'm creating a blog or any kind of article, I will use my iPhone or your phone and use Google Docs and just hit the microphone button. It's free, and just talk into your phone. If you're driving, on the side, or and do little things here and there. So you grab your iPhone, your phone, Google Docs, the microphone option, boom, it's free. Start talking, and just ramble on your thoughts, ideas. It just, you have to still go back and edit it later. But then if you throw it into Quora, Surfer, these optimizing tools, boom, you should be up to optimize for the keyword. But you have a foundation. You don't even need phrase now. You don't even need all that, other bells and whistles, the research. Just, getting it out there. And like it's easier sometimes to speak, than write, and actually sit there and write it. So that's another way if you don't want to get Happy Scribe or Pictory, these tools.
So you've talked about Quora a few times now. So we're not talking about Quora the forum. We're talking about Quora the tool.
Quora, there's Quora. I was making a joke actually in one of the groups about, you could use Quora for Quora. So the Quora, the article, that's something else. And then there's Quora, which is Cora. Quora is, I would say, like the godfather of the optimization tools. I believe he's an SEO now, but I think he was like a former mathematician. He was into numbers and data, statistics, and he was one of the first to figure out, to really analyze Google and to see the correlation between pages that were ranking. and he put the science behind it, and saying, you know what, I've noticed that keyword these articles are ranking, and they all have something in common. They're all ranking at 1,000 words. There's a certain amount of keywords sprinkled in, per article. So he created Quora, which it was pretty expensive. It was like $200 a month, and I laughed when I first saw that. I said, I'm not paying for this. And then I finally got like a discount code. So I tried it out. I used it for 6 months, and everything that I wrote was ranking right away. And I said, you know what? It's worth the money. It really helps. You write the articles yourself, just like Surfer, and it will give you every piece of data, all the numbers to get you to match. But as Google got smarter, Quora had to also evolve. And then you have Page Optimizer Pro and then Surfer SEO. They're all in the same family. I ended up just with Surfer because it was a little bit less expensive. And, I got along with the founder and the team. And I thought they had a nice, UI was more friendly for me. Quora was a little more raw.
So if you're a solopreneur, you'd go with the $59 one for Surfer. If you got an agency, which one would you need for Surfer if you're doing that?
Surfer, I'm doing the $99 a month. I think it's fine to go with the, I think they do a trial first. You can go with that or the 50, the minimum. There are some discount codes out there. I don't know if they're still active. It's you could choose. I think Page Optimizer Pro might be a little less, I believe, the monthly. So you can go with that one as well. I would just recommend those three, and save money. Don't worry about the other tools. If you're just starting out and you're like, I don't know which way to go with tools. Yeah, a rank tracker. So if you grab the LTD for SERP Watch, something like that, or there's a few out there that have a inexpensive monthly, something that you could rank your keywords and put them in. And then I would go with a page optimizing tool like Surfer or POP or Quora. Ahrefs, SEMrush, those are nice to have, but you can get that down the road. There's also, we didn't touch on yesterday, there is a free version of Ahrefs, and I don't know if everybody knows that. It's a free backlink checker. So you can use that, and it'll show you, I believe, 100 backlinks for free and unlimited usage. It doesn't give you all the data and the historical data, but it gives you enough if you're just starting out or you're running a small agency to use. So you can use the free Ahrefs, to get the backlinks.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yes. Hey, can we address some questions real quick?
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Oh yeah.
So, guys, have you given time to Bloggly yet? So that's a question I think from Ron. So
I've tried so many times, and I just don't understand the tool. I go in there. I've heard about people raving about Bloggly.
Me too.
I get all excited because I think, maybe I missed something. Then I go in there and I go, I still have no idea where I got a license. I got it sitting there. I just don't know what to do with it. Right? I was hoping you could educate me on that.
Yeah.
Joe.
So tomorrow we have Jenny Jones, who's going to talk about Bloggly, Writer's Zen, and Paper Type AI.
Nice.
So I want to see how he is using Bloggly. Right? He's very passionate, of course, in terms of the tools he's using. So we'll find out, right? So hopefully, Ruhani, I hope you can. Is that even your real name, Ruhani? You have to tell me that, right? So, yeah, if you are going to be, it's 8 a.m. Pacific time. Is on the West Coast, so it'll be about 11 a.m. EST. We're going to talk a little bit about Bloggly. Hopefully, that session answers some of your questions, right?
Yeah, I'd like to tune into that because I've heard the same thing. Bloggly, some people love it and some people hate it, that it's trying to do too much in one tool, kind of like a big Q, where there might be too much going on.
The other thing is the credit system. I don't understand the credits. Like, they got credits in there, and then I do one little thing like that'll normally cost me nothing in Phrase or Writers In, and suddenly
Yeah.
I went down like 150 credits. Like, what the heck? What did I just do?
The credit systems drive me nuts with half these tools. NextWeave, I was losing my mind in the beginning with that credit system. I didn't know. I had to get a calculator out to figure out what the heck I was doing, and I was messing things up. And then 1,000 credits are gone. I love the tool, by the way. It's a great tool. I'm just not that great at math, so credit systems confuse me.
Gosh. Yeah, it looks quite cool. Would you? I was just looking at NextWeave. Would you combine that with something like a sales tool like Upticks, or like some kind of sales automation thing where it takes them to their page and they see their name there? Would it help with that? Do you think?
Yeah, that's I believe I reached out to the founder of Upticks that they are working on maybe getting something with NextWeave, or Waxo even.
Oh, really?
I think he might even try. But NextWeave has a lot of good stuff with Encharge. I haven't tried it out yet with Encharge or Mailchimp.
Really?
You would send it out. I picked up NextWeave because I knew I was going to start working for this new agency. And I wasn't going to use it for my own agency at first because I don't do a lot of outreach, but I want to use NextWeave for since I'm managing SEO and managing clients. I want to also hey, wish them a happy birthday, or how you doing today, and have some random fun emails come through that are professional. And I think NextWeave can do that. I'm using NextWeave kind of on a smaller scale. I know I'm driving Inder nuts because I keep asking them. I know the tool is meant for mass emails, sending out a lot, and I'm trying to work with him to figure out a way to just send not a full campaign, but just using it through mail, embedding it in there, a preview image of the video, and sending it to one person. But I have it ready, my template, and then their name I could just enter with the email and boom, send it out. So he's been working with me on that to do it on a smaller scale.
Who was that you were working with? Sorry, I missed who you were working with.
The founder, I believe his name is Inder. Is that his name, Neelish?
Yes.
He's a very nice guy. Yeah, on support, he's great.
I've talked to him. Yeah, he is in our community as well, I believe.
I actually asked him 2 days ago if he wants to come on with you guys to talk about NextWeave. He's another one. Invest in founders. I watched him on many interviews, and he's very, very bright. He has a plan, a vision for his company, and he was another example of what, I'm going to get a couple codes because I might not need this tool right at this moment, but I like what he's talking about. I like where it's going, and luckily I got it because, like I said, now I'm at a larger agency, and the CEO of the company even said, "Wow, you got that tool? That we got to use that. We're going to start sending that, doing sales. We'll go through Encharge or Mailchimp, send out some nice videos, and then have it's easy to customize. You put their name in it, boom, done. It saves a lot of time rather than the other option is, hey, Joe, go in Photoshop, After Effects, go back there. I want you to make a bunch of, I want you to make 1,000, little GIFs and videos." And I'm like, oh God,
easy.
you're killing me.
Easy.
Yeah. I'm too busy in the LTD community, boss. I'm making stupid memes and GIFs, and I'm busy poking fun at Phrase again this week. I'm having a good time.
I'm too busy, and then he tunes into AppSumo, the Stack Social. Hey, look, there he is again. He's on there for another 2 hours. He can't be that busy.
Hey, I'm talking to Neelish. I'm chatting with them,
So we'll answer the next one. What keyword research tool do you all use for YouTube, TubeBuddy, or TubeBuddy or Video IQ for or something else? So yeah, Video IQ for sure. It's a good. They have a Chrome extension, works really well. For sure, there is TubeBuddy. TubeBuddy used to be on LTD for the longest possible time. I don't know if you grabbed it, but when you get TubeBuddy, you also get some discounts and stuff on some of the other services around video creation. So I think they have you get a free music service and things of that nature. But TubeBuddy in itself is great for keyword research. There's Tubix as well. Tubix is really good for uh, keyword research. It will show you the volume and everything. Tubix is a good tool. Like you can get it on LTD, probably much cheaper. Their pricing plan is ridiculous. I think it's. I'm not sure what it is today, but Tubix, I think monthly plan is like through the roof. I'm not sure how much they're charging. Let me check very quickly.
By the way, I see School Me. I don't know if that's your real name, School Me. Probably not.
Yeah, Tubix. Yeah, Tubix is a good tool, but they're charging $790 a month. So you,
Oh,
How
hey.
much?
seven
How much?
$790 a month.
Really?
Yeah,
What
yeah.
for?
For enterprise, it's for an enterprise kind of. I'm not sure who's paying for it, but must be somebody, uh, because
So I
that's the
saw a
only.
comment here, right? Down there, somebody's asking about TubeBuddy. You can get it. You still can get it for $39. You just got to find somebody who has it, and then in their account they can click on a link, and it takes them to a page where they can then buy it.
Can you? I think they got
Yeah.
rid of that link, didn't they? They removed
Um,
that link, I believe. But if there is, yeah, feel free to post it. Um, I think they got rid of it, but there was a way where you could go create an account and go to the link, and then So I got like two TubeBuddy accounts. ViralStat is another good one for YouTube videos. I think you can get LTD on pretty much. Um, you can buy an LTD, in the community for Tubix or ViralStat. Um, but TubeBuddy, I'm not sure if you can change the email address, but because they have like, so maybe somebody who has it will have to associate like a Gmail account, which they can give it off and then maybe sell it. Uh, but check when if it's possible to get TubeBuddy LTD still, because they had the LTD for the longest time, and they might have got rid of the link. We can ask them if they would be, and that wasn't like such a great plan, but it worked. I mean, it shows you a lot of different things, competitor videos, what's working for them. Yes, I mean, the first thing is, of course, go ahead and create videos. I believe, Lyle, you're going to start creating videos again. You had mentioned somewhere. Let me know. Let me see if I can find you a license from somewhere for Tubix or something. It used to be on AppSumo. I believe they sold it for like $39 or something. So it's really cheap if you get an LTD. But for the enterprise plan, which they're selling on their site, it's $790 a month. So I would not suggest you pay that money to anybody. But
I
anyway,
think I think out of all of them, I think I prefer vidIQ. If you're going to be paying for it on an ongoing basis, I believe that vidIQ gives you it gives you the same data, but the way that vidIQ presents it, it just makes it a lot quicker process. That's my experience. When you're trying to figure out how you're stacking up competitively and keywords, it's just overwhelming, man. You want to get the job done. You don't want to be sitting there for hours on end trying to optimize this stupid video you spent long enough making and producing the video, and now you got to do all of that. Alrighty. What are we
are you
talking about
guys
today?
still using niches? Who's still using niches here?
Yeah, I'm still using it.
Yeah?
I
Has it
know it's been a
improved?
little bit dormant, and Malcolm's been trying to work. He says that things are, coming along. The long form wasn't really working correctly. But I still like niches. People are bashing him, I guess, and the group, they're impatient. They're like, what's going on? We invested a whole $39 on this tool, and we want everything. We want it all, and it's a good tool. It's got a fun UI. It does things well. If you have a creative block, I go to niches. For brand name ideas, you want to get something going before you go to writer. It has some nice things to it. And another thing I got to give to credit to Niches and to Malcolm. Have you checked out his Niches Facebook group?
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm in there.
It is fantastic. It is.
It's a really good
You
group.
could
It's an awesome
you
group.
could
It
you
doesn't cut
you
down any
can
conversation.
discuss any AI tool in that group. Everybody
Yeah.
talks about, hey, writers so much better in niches. What do you guys think? And I'm like, oh my god, closers copy, content bot. I'm thinking about getting this, and I have to tip my hat to Malcolm. He does not censor the conversation.
No,
He
he's great.
allows everyone to discuss everything. And when other founders or SaaS tool folks come to me for marketing ideas, I say there's two ways of going about it. There's the shut down, censor everything. I think which like tools like Conversion are doing, and there's a few other out there that they don't want to talk about anything else, just their tool and that's it. Or there's the other extreme, like niches, where that group they'll allow everything and open discussion, and he's not sensitive about it, and he's secure about what he's doing, his plan. And I think it helps the group because you get more conversation in there. So the niches Facebook group has kind of become like the AI hangout, writing tool hangout.
Yeah.
And I really like, I don't know if he's doing it on purpose or it's by accident, or he's just like, you know what, let people talk about what they want. I know what I'm doing with niches. It's going to get there eventually, hopefully, maybe. But I've stuck around because, hey, it was whatever, $39 for an LTD. It was one of the early ones that came on. He was doing great updates all the time. And the tool was helping me. It's still helping me. Yeah. I wish it would, catch up to the other tools. The other tools kind of passed it by right now in terms of quality. But it's a good tool, It's. I don't understand people like, oh, I got to sell it. I got to get my $35 back. I'm like, why? You buy low and you invest, and hopefully it makes it. And if it doesn't, hey,
I remember people having the same conversation about phrase, and actually I try to sell my phrase licenses, so I'm one of those people. But I started noticing just the quality of updates that phrase was doing, how they were going about it. They were very professional. I know their PR recently hasn't been the greatest. Okay, all of that acknowledged. But I started noticing, and I thought, if they carry on this trajectory, then this is going to be withholding. So I took my licenses off sale, and I'm so glad I did, because now they're actually worth something, man. Like, people are paying good money for those, especially when you got two or more licenses.
Hey, those days are gone. You can't change the email address anymore for phrase.
Oh, you can't?
Yeah, because that was the last drama that happened where they kind of frowned upon reselling. It's
Can you believe they joined our community and frowned upon reselling? It's like, what? You agreed to the group rules when you joined in, you know? Yeah.
I think that the reselling. I mean, I'm not a reseller. I think I just put something on recently, first time ever. Something for the cost of what I paid for. I'm not looking to make money, but there are founders out there to support the resale market, and I think it would be okay to, because you're adding value. It's like stock. And you're saying, yay, did you hear a phrase? Those phrase codes, they're selling for, triple, quadruple of the original cost. Like, a Restream, you see that out there. People are selling that for a ridiculous amount of money. You would think as a founder, oh, wow, my LTD has a lot of value in the market. And I know they don't want people to profit off of it, but phrase, another one I got early on, it was one of my first LTDs. And I used it for 2 weeks. I didn't like it. It stood on the shelf, and then the add-on came along this year, and I started using it. I said, wow, this is a great tool. But that's what I always tell people in the groups. Everyone's like, I need phrase. It's the buzzword. Everyone wants phrase. Yeah, but you're going to have to expect to pay the monthly, the add-on, because it's not really anything special without that, in my opinion. You don't need, all that. I think the AI and the document creator is an excellent add-on.
Yes.
Yeah.
So there is some comments about outranking. Wilson, how are you doing? I'm glad you're watching this live because you probably missed last few streams. So
yeah, Wilson's my FOMO buddy.
Is
You
it?
know, if you're missing out, me and Wilson go back and forth. He's cost me money. I've cost him money. We both look at tools, and one of us ends up buying it.
Yeah. Yeah. So
So yeah.
yeah. So did you buy Outranking? Because Wilson is saying Outranking version 5 concepts is actually pretty good. Choose through my credits though. Did you
I
buy
got it early on,
it?
and then
Okay.
I refunded it after. Actually, I didn't even mean to refund it, but I'm kind of happy I did because I have too many tools. I think outranking is going in the phrase direction. It was pretty good. It was like a mix of closers copy and phrase, but the outputs weren't excellent at the time. But now I am hearing that the new version is much better. I actually emailed support asking how would I go about refunding if I'm going to refund, and they refunded me right away. So I was like, okay, I didn't mean to, but I was like, okay, whatever. I have so many tools already. It's okay. But it seems like that's another one out there that people have high hopes for, and they say that outranking has a very high ceiling. Out of all these tools.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll be interested to see what Ginny comes back with Blogly tomorrow. I mean, like the amount of hype that I've heard around that tool, I feel as though I feel kind of dumb. I go, man, I should be able to use this tool, and I go in there and go, nah, I'm out again. I'm out. 5 minutes later, I'm done.
Well, that's what we were talking about yesterday. Some tools people preach about, and you're like, I just don't get it. Does that mean I'm not good at SEO? I'm not good at video creation. I'm not good at, animation, drawing, whatever. Everyone's saying, oh, phrase is great or outranking is great. And then you use the tool and you're like, I just don't get it. It's just
Yeah.
some tools aren't for everybody. Outranking too. I got it. I thought it was okay. I wasn't. Go copy was another one that people still say, oh my god, Go copy is better than Writer. It's better than Jarvis. I used it for a
Really?
couple of days and I didn't get it. It just didn't work for me.
Hmm.
It is interesting.
I do wonder about a lot of these tools. You get these tools, and my preference usually, and it's not to do with the actual price, but my preference is usually to use something. If I can get away with using Microsoft Excel or Google Docs or just the basic, search engine in Google, I'll
Yeah.
typically do. That's a big part of my creative research process. I'll use, you know, um, Google Insights, Google Trends, or whatever it's called today. Google Trends, Google Suggest, Google Docs. That's honestly 90% of what I do. I just use those free tools.
Yeah.
I
Same.
yeah,
Same. I mean, the big agencies right now, we're all using Lighthouse. Everybody's doing it. It's free. The Chrome extension, Lighthouse Chrome extension, get it. Even if you're not doing SEO, just get it to check on your own site, and it'll give you your performance
yeah.
test. You know,
This
it's
is the
it's it's
SEO checker. I get it. Yeah.
another free tool, and it came out with the Google Core update from this year. In
Uh-huh.
conjunction with it. So you use the Lighthouse tool to make sure your websites are performing well after the update. Well, the update's still going on. It's definitely calmed down.
Oh yeah. You just reminded me of something. So we talked about so many tools, probably dozens of tools in the last couple of calls. Neelish had the idea. I think you got the idea from seeing another post, Neelish, using Airtable or Grist. We're going to be using Grist to build out this compendium of tools. Probably we won't mention the crappy ones, but we'll definitely mention the ones that are merit worthy. It'll be kind of useful to kind of like, especially if we're buying and selling tools in the community, to be able to see exactly what this tool is and what the sentiment is about it. Where does it shine? Where does it not do so well? Where are there holes?
Yes.
You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah, and you remember when we started, we tested it with Buddy Boss, and we did that. You did that whole WordPress thing around who's listing what, but now with Get Grist, Probably we should do that. That landscape I
You
showed
reckon we
you.
can do that with grist? You reckon?
I think we can do that. It would be probably be a combination of grist and something else, but and we can also get input using Paperform or something, and users can put. I'm not sure how much. We don't want users to start messing up with that data as well, but I think we can do that landscape and show the category which tools are really good, and
Yeah. Even rank them in the category we rank them. So if you're talking about an SEO content document writer, you got Phrase, you got Bloggly, you got Postbase, you got Writers In now, you got Market Muse. How do they rank and based on what factors?
yes,
It's
yes,
tough to separate too the AI writing tools from the SEO tools, writing tools. I feel like there's a bit of overlap, but
Mm-hmm.
these AI tools, even Phrase is an SEO tool. It was, but now it's going more AI, which I don't know if AI, these writing tools like even Writer are necessarily SEO tools. So I mean, it
Well,
would
I
be.
see the case for a rewriter or a rephraser. So if you're using, as an example, you're using Phrase, you come up with all these links and stats and all of that. It's really
Oh yeah,
great for that.
that's great for SEO. Yeah,
Right, but then you go, okay, well, there's large chunks of this that I also want to use.
yeah,
I can put it in my own voice, but if going back to what you're saying before, if English is not my first language, that's going to be a little bit tough. So I just chuck it into a rewriter, an AI rewriter that's just going to do a much better job than Spin Text ever used to do. I see a use for it there, and
with
that way you can.
for an AI rewriter, absolutely. The AI expanders, that's
No,
another story. Comparing them.
hey,
100%.
so the topic today is we're going to talk a little bit about WordPress plugins and
Oh, is that what we're supposed to be
SEO.
talking about?
That
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
that's yes, yes. That's I mean, so we can cover a few quick comments, but we're still going to talk about that, right? Because then
Whatever you guys want
Yeah.
to talk
Let's go.
about.
yes,
Yeah, whatever you want to talk about.
yeah,
Yeah,
because
sure.
then otherwise, I
Sure.
mean, we will have people tuned in for talking about WordPress, and then we are talking about all these tools, and which is great, and a lot of people can associate with it, but some may not, right? So just just putting it out there. But we can cover these comments. Got a lot of interesting comments here. Saying one of the most underrated tool for easy on-page SEO was Story Chief. It was a great deal to help beginners understanding on-page SEO. Yes, who actually wrote that? I'm not sure who wrote that comment, but yes, definitely, Story Chief is a good tool, and I mean, I've used Story Chief, really, really handy for sure. I mean, I'm sure
I've,
nobody wants to sell it for that reason as well. Um,
I've only seen good. I've only ever heard good things about Story Chief. Only ever. I've never heard of any bad feedback. It's one of those tools that people really want.
I've never used it.
yeah,
Neither.
Yes, Inderaj Singh Virdi was the only one trying to help. I feel like he carries the whole team. Yeah, if you're referring to NextWeave, it's interesting though because we had someone from NextWeave, we had someone in the community who wanted to buy NextWeave from someone, and it's funny because NextWeave, when they launched, they were on Sastronautics or something like that, and I mean the site closed down. Anyway, they launched there. The person had bought it. They wanted to sell it, and he couldn't change the email address. So the person who had bought the deal, you know, went to the XView team and they sold him an LTD, but they did not let the seller to sell the account. So I thought it was a bit strange, but anyway, I have talked to Inder. And I'm not sure though if you can change the email address in NextWeave and sell it off, right? So, yeah.
All right. So let's go into WordPress.
Yes,
Let's get.
yes, we should definitely get into that. What's your thoughts on social monals?
I have it. It's a
Manual.
good backup SMM tool. You know, it's not bad.
Yes. Phrase
Oh,
results stopped writers in outranking post-based neural text from having a good launch. Yes, I mean, it's an interesting. It could also be a strategy as well, right? So certainly, uh, you know, somehow that whole phrase thing, they managed to sell a lot more copies and affected some of these tools, right? But that's part and parcel of the things. I'm pretty sure when it comes to writers, and I don't think Daniel is very keen on having like just LTD, right? Like his whole focus is on subscription, so it might actually have helped him too by not giving away too much. Um, yes,
Yeah, I think they got, I think they got plenty of exposure out of the exercise, and I don't think they're particularly worried about selling a lot of licenses. They've got funding, so they're okay for that. I think Daniel very clever. He appears to be very clever to me, so I think they're on track. I see
yes,
somebody mentioning VLoud and Voodoo TV. I never jumped on either of those. I got Swarmify, and I'm very happy with Swarmify. I've got nothing but good things to say about it. If you want something that plays videos and takes a YouTube video and plays it at light speed on your website, Swarmify is it. I heard a little bit of negative feedback about Voodoo TV. I don't know what that was about. Never looked into it, but it just seemed seemed a bit strange. I wouldn't be one of those tools I'd go out of my way to use, to be honest. VLOAD, I don't
yes,
know anything about it.
yes. So Wilson, to address your comment, there is not a delay. Actually, I am, posting those comments so that I can show every single comment, and if you give a restream permission to, then I can actually see your names, who is posting the comments. So I think Jason has done that, so I can see, like, if he has given permission, then I can see his name and his profile picture.
Put it
It's
in
a
the
lot
chat, I
easier.
guess. Put the
It's
link in the chat. That might help, and then they can.
Yes. Yes, I should do that. But hey, let's move on to WordPress plugins. We'll start with WordPress hosting. What do you use, Joe? I'll start with mine. I use typically three companies depending on what the customer is paying me. I use Kinsta, WP Engine. I'm a WP Engine agency partner as well, and then I use SiteGround. So yes, that's my three, depending on what customers are paying. What do you
Oh,
For
now
use?
you're playing in my
WordPress
domain.
hosting, you're talking about, or plugins?
Hosting. We'll start with hosting.
For hosting.
We're
Okay.
talking about SEO, so we'll take it step by step. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, you have both. It goes with hosting, the theme, the WordPress theme that you're using, and then the plugins on top of it. Now, obviously, some of the hosts provide some of the plugins. I use SiteGround is for my main sites. Cloudways is actually my favorite now. Cloudways using Vultr is great because you can select the location of the server, and it's very scalable. Cloudways hosting is excellent. If you want, say you're a freelance web designer, SEO, whatever, digital marketing person, you can go with a $11 a month plan and host a couple of sites on it. And then if you want to scale your agency, your business, you can go up to $22 a month, $44 a month, and you have control to scale upward at any time. If you have to go down, you just have to contact support. Their support is great. So Cloudways with Vultr is great. I've been trying to stay away from GoDaddy, HostGator, the rest of them. They're charging way too much lately, and the product's not as good. WP Engine, I know a lot of people love it. I haven't personally used it, but it seems to be one of the gold standards. With SiteGround is up there as well, in my opinion. They're pretty close. But bang for the buck, Cloudways, Vulture, that's a good combo. The only thing to keep in mind when you're using Cloudways is you have to get Elastic Email or another email service, because they don't have email servers with Cloudways.
Yes.
And yeah, that's for the hosting part.
Yep, I'll jump in
Bluehost,
there.
yeah, Bluehost is not bad.
So HostGator, Bluehost, all of those ones, they used to be like, back in 2007 when I hosted my e-commerce website on my own site. Yeah, I was using HostGator. It was quite good back then. And then they sold to another company, and then they got really crappy. And so did a bunch of the other ones. A lot of those companies that you mentioned are all kind of bought up by a conglomerate, and they go from being awesome to being crap.
Yeah.
SiteGround used to be the gold standard.
Yeah.
I don't believe they're the same company anymore. I think they were sold, and their service quality went down. WP Engine is still a very good service, although you'll pay for it. Cloudways,
if you are an agency partner for WP Engine, right? So you apply for their agency, and they give you like a free hosting for one site, right? So
right, it's a good service. It's a great service. You can't fault it.
Yeah, you also get access to Studio Press when you are an agency partner for free.
Right.
I mean, they have recently updated some of their templates, and they have a Gutenberg-based product, which is a subscription service. But if somebody just starting into WordPress hosting, apply for a WP Engine's hosting
It's a good place to start. You don't need to be too technical. They take care of the security, the SSL, they take care of everything. So if you're not technical and you want the best, WP Engine's a good place to go. It will cost you a little bit more than everyone else, but it's probably worth it. For all of the risks that you're mitigating. Cloudways, however, I will say, hand on heart, is the best practice way of going about doing it. And with Cloudways, it's basically a layer that sits on top of your other hosting, like Joe was alluding to. So he's using Vulture. DigitalOcean is another excellent host to use with AWS, Google Cloud, Azure. They all hook in with Cloudways, so you can use any of those, and they're all awesome servers. So DigitalOcean, Vulture, even Linode, AWS, Google Cloud, Azure. Those are all where I'd be putting my hosting. Personally, for me, my marketing stack lives on Google Cloud. I do it a lot on Google Cloud now, a lot. So I use their servers. I use App Engine. I use Firebase. I use BigQuery. I use Google Analytics 4, GTM Server. Pretty much everything I do now lives on Google. I still have DigitalOcean servers, but they're just like Vulture. So if you're using Vulture, DigitalOcean, pretty much of a muchness, really.
Yeah.
So now we're getting into caching plugins. I see a lot of mentioning about Lightspeed. So caching plugins, you got WP Rocket, which is considered to be the industry standard, but you've also got Lightspeed. Lightspeed has actually surpassed WP Rocket in a big way. They've actually got a ton of funding now. People don't realize that. There's a lot of funding behind Lightspeed. Lightspeed is one of my favorites. The only problem that I found with Lightspeed compared to WP Rocket is that you do need to be a little bit more technical. There are a few more settings in Lightspeed compared to WP Rocket. There's a number of excellent caching plugins out there. There was W3C, whatever. There's a lot of them. But for my money, I think those two, Lightspeed and WP Rocket, are probably the two that people are choosing between at the moment.
My top one, I like WP Rocket. I feel WP Fastest Cache is actually is the top one for me. I've had better speed test results with WP Fastest Cache, even over WP Rocket. But now I've gotten rid of it because the themes, the WordPress themes, Elementor, Oxygen. I use Themify, and Themify's they've added their own cache, enhancers. So now you have a conflict. If you have too many things, SiteGround actually theirs is pretty decent as well. But they all, or Cloudways, I believe, has Breeze. And you don't want to have too many of these plugins because then they kind of have a conflict. But a lot depends. People will get crappy hosting, and then they get these plugins, WP Rocket, WP Fast Cache, and the site will still not perform well. It's like putting, jet engines on like a Yugo car. It's like you still got the Yugo car. It's not going to go that fast. It's just going to rip the doors off the car if you put these rocket engines on it. So you need a good car. You need a good vehicle. The hosting is where it starts, and then also optimizing your images for the website, going from there and make sure everything's optimized, and then having a theme that has the plugin built into the system. So this year I got rid of a few of these.
Let's stay with the image optimizers first, because we're kind of going up the hierarchy of optimization. So we'll finish with
have you looked at perf caching? Have you looked at Perf Matters? It's like a plugin from Kinsta.
So is that an image optimizer? Perf Matters.
Not an image optimizer. It will optimize your CSS and JavaScript. It's pretty reasonably priced. I think $24 a year or something. You get 10% off. And actually, going back to Ruhani's comment here, I used StudioPress a while back, but now I prefer GeneratePress and Neve, purely good coded themes. Yeah, GeneratePress for sure, it's a good coded theme. If you look at Perf Matters, it's owned by Kinsta. I think it's still, unless they sold it. That whole site is based on GeneratePress, so check it out. Yes.
Which image optimizers are you using, Joe? Like I was using one. I still do use it. I still got an old license to one that I forget the name of it. I think it's like
Smush It.
No, an old
Smush
one.
It or the EWWW is the new one I've been using from AppSumo, which is actually very good.
I got an old one that's really good. It used to be really good. Now they've taken some of the things away, but anyway. Yeah, there's a few.
Photoshop, what I was going to say, is the best image optimizer, where people are looking for a plugin. If you have a file and you're uploading, it's 1200 pixels wide and you're using it for a 500 by 500, image, and you're not putting it through Photoshop or any kind of graphics editor first to resize it there, to make it smaller before you upload. These plugins, they will optimize and reduce the file size and scale them, but I believe the optimization starts from the beginning. And having a good web developer, graphic designer working with you to make sure that the images are optimized and named properly. People will upload images.
Have you used Photopea?
No.
Apparently, it's like a direct ripoff of Photoshop. It's free.
Oh.
And the way they make money, the guy's made millions of dollars. The guy that made this thing, it's Photopea, PEA. It's basically the Photoshop user interface.
If it works. I mean, I've had Photoshop my whole life since it was a one layer program and there was no undos.
I just know people. I know it's a $30 or $50 a month thing now. So I personally use the CorelDRAW suite, which I've had for years, and I love.
That works.
It's good. But I know that people use GIMP as an alternative, and
I
think
GIMP
you
works
don't need
too. You
don't need to use GIMP, man. You just get. Sorry, Karen.
I think the image optimization starts from these programs. The using the image editing program first, and saving file size from there by shrinking it down, optimizing it, saving it as a PNG if you want to have a smaller file. If you want to geotag, which is a whole other conversation, you have to save it as a JPEG to send to like something like Local Viking, Local Falcon, GeoMappy, these other local tools, and then naming the image. This is all part of optimization services for SEO. Naming the image with a nice keyword that now don't spam the image. But if I have a real estate client in New York, I would tag it, house for sale NY. House sale for sale NY as a JPEG or PNG. Make sure the file size is correct, and then upload it. Because when people do a Google image search for houses for sale in New York, you might get lucky, and your image is optimized. And the plugins can't do that for you. You have to name them. I go crazy when you have a website, and a lot of the websites out there are like this. They're named img007.1.gpg. That's you're missing out the optimization right there. For the file name.
Yeah. Okay, so we're done in job optimization. We're talking about caching plugins. What's the next thing? We're talking about themes now. Can we talk about themes?
Yeah, we can talk about themes, but before I forget again, we were talking about niches, and the first live stream which we did in the community was with Malcolm. I'm not sure if you've seen that live stream.
Oh yeah, that's
but,
right.
But my video was going off, and the camera was I had half of the time we had echoes. So we've improved quite a bit since that stream. But that was the first live stream we did, and Malcolm has always been very generous, very pleasant,
He's great. He's
very
awesome.
easy to talk to. And he was in Brazil at the time. I'm not sure where he is now. Is he still in Brazil?
Sorry, I'll be right back.
Yeah. You are welcome to take a break. Yes. So, certainly, I mean, it was a great session we did with Malcolm, and we had quite a lot of interest at the time. But going back to our WordPress conversation. So Aditya, I stand corrected. Thanks for correcting me there. I knew that there was some sort of a connection, but seems like it's done by Brian, who has now left Kinsta. They're still hosted on Kinsta, so they must have left on good terms. But
we can see you now, Corey. We can see your name. Corey's asking about his name there.
Yeah, we can definitely see your name, and it's right here.
There we go.
Now we are moving towards SVG and WebP. Okay, for sure.
WebP is the new standard. Correct. Yeah.
Yes. So I think there is, for sure. I think there was some discussion around the new WebP support, which WordPress now supports WebP format, right?
And for video, we've got the equivalent, which is X2 or H265, right? So that's along the same lines. You were talking about much higher compressions. Sorry, carry on.
Yeah. So SVG, I'm not sure if there is a native support already added, but I used to use a plugin. I think it's called Happy Files or something. Was it Happy Files? Which adds SVGs. I'll have to check. But there was a plugin which would do SVG. I'm not sure if it's supported natively today.
Short Pixel is one I'm using. Lightspeed Cache comes with WebP conversion built into it. I'm pretty sure all of the main caching plugins do WebP now. I think that's just something that they do out of the box. They take your JPEGs and your PNGs and they convert them into a WebP, and then they ask you if you want to use that as your main source file now and delete the other ones. I think at least Lightspeed does that. And browsers, the modern browsers all do SVG by default now. So, as the internet evolves, the older standards get dropped and we end up with these new standards being supported.
Yes.
I remember developing for, developing websites and having to worry about what they called shims, so you'd have to have little bits of JavaScript so that Internet Explorer 6 was still supported. It was just a nightmare. Then it was Internet Explorer 8. Now we're getting rid of all of those old standards and,
But you remember we had problems with Lightspeed and ACF and Clock. There was all sorts of problems.
So from that perspective, unless you I'm pretty technical, but honestly, WP Rocket is a much easier caching plugin to use for that reason. Lightspeed will get you into trouble if you're not constantly watching the little developments that are happening, because they will do automatic updates, and then suddenly your site's not showing, and you don't know about it till a day later when someone says what's supposed to be on this page, it's all blank. I've had that a number of times. you want to talk about themes now? Should we talk about themes real quick?
Yeah, we should definitely talk about themes. I mean, themes is always in discussion, right? I'm very happy that I have moved away from themes, and we'll also talk about page builders at the same time. I think because they do go hand in hand, depending on which theme supports which page builders, kind of thing, right? So we can talk about themes for sure.
Let's categorize them both, because I think they're both distinct topics. But like you say, we've got page builders like Elementor, Oxygen.
Yeah, we are
whatever.
we are going to skip the theme which we are promoting right now. So because we don't want it to be any type of plug or promotion during this conversation, right? So we'll have to skip that. Other than that, we can talk about anything else. So yes, so Oxygen, for sure, great. I'm sure there's a lot of Oxygen users here, but yeah, I'm moved away a little bit from Elementor from a page builder perspective. Although there is a lot of plugins, makes a life a lot easier. When hosting on Kinsta, still it's not much of an issue, but still moving away a lot.
It's really hard to get away from Elementor. Like when you consider and this is one of the things that when you look at app development, plugin development, theme development, a big thing to take into consideration is the ecosystem that surrounds that plugin or theme or app, for that matter. And that's why some applications, for example, right? So take the iPhone. I've got an Android, but take the iPhone as an example. One of the things that early on gave iPhone a massive, massive advantage was the app development app developers who got in there early and created all of these amazing apps. So a big part of the value that you're buying when you buy $1,000 phone or $2,000 phone, whatever it is that you're paying for a phone, is the actual ability to download these apps. And same thing with themes. And so even though we know that Elementor is a bloated piece of crap, it really is, by today's standards, it's still valuable because of all of the support that it gets from Advanced Custom Fields, Advanced Custom Fields Pro, Advanced Custom Fields Front End, Advanced Custom Fields Front End Pro, and then all of the plugins that build off of that. That's just bewildering. But like if you're wanting to do a bespoke, best practice WordPress site, it's very hard to step past Elementor and all of those ACF plugins. It really is. Nilesh, like Nilesh, you were saying, you and I have developed a really complicated site on CrocoBlocks. CrocoBlocks is a competitor to Advanced Custom Fields, but yet CrocoBlocks doesn't support Oxygen properly yet. You can get the two working together. And if this all sounds gobbledygook to you guys, I mean, just think about a site where you've got like filters and you got like toggles and you got like the site updates as you start putting the filters in, and it can do whatever you want, and you can make the most advanced, almost like an app. You can make WordPress sites that mimic apps, and they're amazing. They're the fun. You could do a WordPress site that does Airbnb or does a stock market or whatever you can conceive of. You can do it with ACF and Elementor. And I really love CrocoBlocks. CrocoBlocks replaces a lot of what ACF does almost entirely. But the problem with ACF is it doesn't support some of the more best practice builders like Oxygen. And in my opinion, Oxygen is probably the best practice builder right now. But the problem with it is that ecosystem of support that Elementor has is just not there yet. And so you can't build everything on Oxygen. That's the problem, in my opinion.
Yes.
Over to you, Joe. Nilesh.
Yes. No.
I don't know how people do these interviews that go over an hour. I mean, I need to take a restroom break. My bladder is so small. I don't know. I'm like, I gotta go. I gotta run. So I came back. I made it.
They roll. They roll off.
It's all this water I'm
and they
drinking
roll.
all day.
Yes, Jason, Elementor is great. For sure, it's very easy to use. There is a lot of different plugins which support Elementor, and as you develop it, it's great. But if you're going to depend on SEO, if page speed is one of the components, certainly which is important, maybe choose a good host, have a good caching plugin, and you can continue. I mean, certainly makes your life a lot easier, right? And yes, there are people who are extremely obsessed with loading speeds and all the things around light speed and GT metrics. So for them, definitely Elementor might not be a good choice. They
Can I just jump in there, because you've
yeah,
raised a good point. So two
yes.
things. Like Joe mentioned yesterday. Number one, the web is now officially 100% mobile first. So when you're developing, it must render fast and user friendly in a mobile first. That's the first thing. Number two, your site must load in the blink of an eye. Okay, this is not something that's optional anymore. It really 100% truly is necessary. If you want to rank and you want to really compete with the big boys, your site must load quickly. Your convert, not only does Google punish you, but if you're selling something, and when I say selling, I use that word like loosely, right? So when we're getting somebody to opt in, when we're getting somebody to sign up for a free trial, when we're getting somebody to take an action that is part of the customer journey, we're selling, right? And when you're wanting people to take those actions, and your site is a bloated piece of rubbish that takes many seconds to load it before you even get to be able to interact with it, I'm sorry, you've lost. That's it. Game over for you. And that's why this discussion around caching and choice of theme and choice of site builder, it's really the realm of nerds, but it really is important. It was because it's having such a big impact on everything downstream in your business.
There are a lot of variables. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yes.
Site speed, load speed, site speed is, they say, for each second. If your site loads in 2 seconds or more, your bounce rate goes higher. So if it takes
a massive jump,
5 seconds, you could lose up to 50% of viewers right away. You definitely want to have your site speed up there if you can, and there's ways of doing it even without the plugins. You can do a lazy load. You could load images in the background as the page is loading. You could use Cloudflare, which works. I know SiteGround has that integrated. I don't like Cloudflare, but most of the companies are using Elementor, or they're kind of modifying it. I'm using Themify. It's similar to Elementor. Yes, there is some junk JavaScript rendering code in the beginning, like Elementor, but they're working through it, to get that condensed. But I like Themify because of, like I said, the cache system they've got in place. They're working on it to make it faster, so you don't need these other plugins later. And mobile first, absolutely the way to go. You have to test your site starting next month. It's going to be switched over. Everything's mobile first. The whole indexing system. They've been talking about it for years, but I think now you're just going to see search results mobile first. They're going to do desktop, as an afterthought. iPad, mobile.
So what accelerates all of this is as these sites and as the sites that are showing up are quicker, what the natural outworking of that is that people become trained to expect a fast, instant, snappy experience. So as this is happening, it's a feedback loop. And what it does is it trains people to be less patient with older sites that are loading slowly. And as a result, you can expect over the next year or so that whatever we're seeing right now in terms of bounce rate and drop off because of the load speed, it's going to get worse. So if your site's slow, it's just going to get progressively worse for you. And kind of Google's already been warning about that.
And it's not just on the site end of it, it's the user end, the user bandwidth, which is becoming frustrating as well. You have to take that into account. If you're testing your site and you're looking at it on your, 500 over 500, bandwidth connection, you're like, everything's flying, especially on a Lighthouse report. You say, I'm good, I'm great. But then try to have someone else that's doing a 35 over 35 bandwidth, a low bandwidth, a lot of CPU running on the computer, and the site's taking 20 seconds to load. There are people out there that don't have high internet, and they're going to bounce too. So that's something you have to speak to your client, or if it's your own site, take into account. I always try to keep people away from video on a homepage. They say, well, you can make it fast. I say, absolutely. We have the best server for you. We have all the plugins. The video is optimized. Let's test it. It flies. But then I say, oh, let me tell you, if you're like, say, a lawyer, a defense lawyer, whatever, your users, can you control your users' bandwidth? Do you know that they have the same internet speed that we have? Or do they have a dial-up connection?
Can I add something to that? So I agree with you on the one hand. Never, ever embed YouTube videos on your homepage. Never, ever do that. You can do that on your deeper pages in your website, but never do that on your homepage. And the reason why is what you say, Joe. It's that every time you embed the JavaScript for a YouTube video, it's about 250 kilobytes. Now, let's say you have like 20 of those on a web page. It's not uncommon for people to do like 20 or 10 or 20 embeds. Well, you've now got like 5 or 10 megabytes worth of JavaScript loading. Yeah. So the way that Swarmify gets around this is they create a snapshot. So they take whatever thumbnail that YouTube is suggesting, then they put a little play button over that to make it look like a YouTube video, and then they replace that entire embed with an image that's also been optimized. So then when you click it, then it loads it, and that really helps with the page load speed.
On a homepage, or on most pages, actually, we don't use a YouTube. We would have the video hosted on its own server, on the web server, and pull it directly from there, and then have a system in place to buffer it. And then we do have a YouTube videos pages as well. But I wouldn't use a YouTube for that.
Yeah. So definitely try and use Swarmify or something equivalent, because the Swarmify will act as a CDN, and it will also re-encode your video. So it will detect what browser and what system your end user is using, and on the fly will stream the most optimal feed. So H.265 is the new video standard, and I think there's an equivalent one to that that's just as fast. Basically, in a nutshell, it'll take a 1080p really high resolution video, and it'll give it to your end user in like 480p or whatever it is. It's a lot smaller stream, and it'll also stream it through a CDN, which means it chooses the closest endpoint to that user around the world, and it it'll literally be in the same city as them, and so they'll get like instant snappy loading of that video.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah, so certainly. I mean,
sorry, Karen.
Hey, I'm using Bunny CDN. I'm really enjoying it so far. I don't know what's going to happen. Just started to use it after Jason. If you recall the conversation we had, I'm starting to use Bunny CDN and loving it so far. Right? That's the only where, like, yesterday's session video was 20 GB. I uploaded it on Bunny CDN, no problem. Right? If I had to upload it on one of the LTD things, I know I could run into all sorts of issues. But it's great for Bunny CDN is good streaming service CDN as well. Sure, check it out. I think they do a 14 days trial. So far I'm really liking for video streaming. Seems like a really good service.
Definitely have to check that out.
Interesting.
Jason actually has helped me a lot with some Be Live tech issues. We've been going back and forth discussing Be Live because we're both big fans of the platform. So thank you, Jason. You helped me a lot with some ideas there.
So that's the second really positive endorsement for Be Live. I think I've got to get it. Okay, so we talked about builders and themes. There's a number of great themes out there. But
Did we answer Jason's question here? What tips and tools assist with these speed requirements? So, there are Google tools. So when you get a chance, if you can just post some links, GT metrics and all that things.
Yeah, JT metrics and
Pingdom,
Lighthouse.
yeah.
You can Google
yeah,
Lighthouse Chrome extension, and then JT
yeah.
metrics. Those two will give you
Those
the
are the
speed.
two, really. Those are the two main ones. I mean, you don't even have to worry about Pingdom and all the other ones. Just GT metrics and Lighthouse. So that's it.
Lighthouse.
The rest
Just
of
the
them I
speed.
kind of
Yeah, you'll get that right off the bat. But keep in mind, Jason, that the numbers, the scores will vary, especially with Lighthouse. It will take into account your CPU usage on your computer, your internet connection, and the server that the website is hosted on. So it will range. The number scores will range, and on GT metrics as well. Now I've seen a lot of the numbers range.
So let's talk about GT metrics real quick. So just take any URL, take your URL to your page, put it in there, and it'll vary on the page that you're loading based on the videos and the images and the JavaScript that's loading. Put that link in there, and you'll get what's called a waterfall chart. It'll be like and basically what it's showing is the chunks of data that are loading, and then you'll see like little bands, right? And the most important one to pay attention, the most two important to pay attention to, number one, time to first paint, which means when does it look like there's an actual website there? That's the first paint. And then time to first interaction, right? And that happens just after the first paint. So when can somebody click around and move it and scroll it and do that kind of thing? Those two metrics are super, super important. Whether or not your website finishes loading within 30 seconds is not really as important as those two things. So those two things, you really want your site to be operable, interactable, if that's a word, within about 2 seconds or less, between 1 and 2 seconds. Yeah. Does that make sense? Does anyone disagree with it?
Yep, makes sense to me.
Sorry, I'm moderating the comments and stuff, so I might have missed some of the things you had to say, Wynne, but I will listen to the replay.
There you go. That's the word. Time to interactive. Ruhani
Ruhani actually he knows his stuff with the JT metrics. Yeah, I'm actually reading some of his comments. I've seen him in the groups before. I've had good interactions with him. He seems to know a lot about this. Good to get him on, maybe.
Tell us how to optimize their sites.
Welcome to come on. I mean, anybody who wishes to be on, for sure. I'm more than happy to get away from the camera. I can in eCam. And then,
no, you're the point man, Nilesh. You're the point man. You're a point guard or quarterback, and then Wynne is the star wide receiver, and I'm just like the mascot. Hey, what's going on over here? Let's do some art lessons.
Do you see this? I wrote WP Optimize. Did you really do that? Because I mean, that's like such a great plugin. So I mean,
dude, you're an OG, old gangster.
Did you? Yeah, I've seen him I have no idea that he was. It wouldn't make sense that he knows about this.
Yeah.
But I have to have an interview set up. He's probably looking at us like, "What are you guys talking about?"
No, I mean, if you wrote it, for sure, if you have any connections, yes, get me an LTD on that at a discount.
That's awesome. Awesome, good to know.
Hey, I sent him a friend request earlier. I saw him on the chat. I sent him a friend request before I knew that he wrote WP Optimize. So I don't want to think now that I, friend requested him just because of that.
Yeah. Hey, do you want to come on? Like, you're welcome to come on and talk about it.
I'll post it for you, so you're not being self-indulgent. There we go. I posted your link to your plugin page there, Ruhani.
That's very
Pretty
cool.
sweet, man. Oh, there you go. Oh, we double posted. Snap.
Oh yeah, look at that. By David Anderson, Rouhani Ravi, and look at that. Team Updraft.
Oh, you
Yeah.
definitely need to wear a shirt. He's like, I need to wear a shirt first. Yes.
Oh, who knew? We had a celebrity.
Celebrity. There we go.
Yeah.
Well, if you need any input on your site, that's the guy to go and ask.
Wow,
There we
that's
go.
pretty cool. That's great. You never know who's watching.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know,
And
So we're talking
like I said, I've interacted with him before. And I never knew that he was.
Yeah.
yeah.
There we
You
go.
know, we have Paul Charlton in our community as well. Right? He's the WP Tits guy, and
Yeah.
he's like 100K subscribers, like really
What?
good. And his channel on YouTube, really good. I mean, his content is just awesome. All right, and
Is that
he's in the
WP
community.
News?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
oh yeah, he's awesome, man. Like his stuff is great. Honestly, I would not have figured out. Okay, so I would not have figured out advanced custom fields and croco blocks if it wasn't for that guy. That guy is a rock star.
Hey, you know, Ronnie, you're gonna get spammed by like 1,500 messages for telling you.
Sorry, sorry about that. I mean, 750 are going to come from me.
Yeah.
But the rest,
There we go.
Yeah.
and I promise I won't call you at 2 a.m. in the morning. Like Waxo's founder. No, I don't do that. Don't worry.
He did not have a profile picture. And when this whole phrase issue happened, I was like, hey, are you even a real person? We had a whole chat. I was like, should I remove you? And then he updated it with a profile picture.
Yeah, I
It's like,
think
sure, I'll
Rouhani
keep it.
had a different. I might not. I'm not sure if he had like a cartoon avatar before or something else, because I remember interacting with him often, and then he changed his profile picture, and I was like, oh yeah, I know this guy. He seems to know a lot about WordPress websites, similar space as myself. So I always got along with him. Like the comments were informative, and I'm like, oh, this guy knows what he's doing, but I had no idea, he's behind a tool. So
You know what cracks me up? You know that tool I was telling you about, the Topic Mojo?
Topic Mojo, I saw something with that today as well. They're packaging.
Yeah.
it
So
with,
I was on
Overflow.
their website and I said, "Oh yeah, hi, it's Wynne here, blah 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 blah." And, I got some questions to ask. He goes, "Yeah, I know who you are, but I saw you in the group." It's like, holy crap! Every person on the planet's in this group.
They watch. I mean, that's what happened with Serpwatch. Serpwatch, he emailed me and goes, "Hey Joe, I'm sorry about you're frustrated with Serpwatch with the speeds and this and that, and that you were talking about other products." And I was like, "Wait, how do you know?" He's like, "Oh, I've seen your video and on with me, Nilesh and with Wynne. It's all Wynne's fault, and he sees me in the groups commenting, that I'm an SEO. I like the tool, but I'm worried about the downtime. Anybody else having issues?" And he reached out. I put the email in the group that he sent. Basically, I asked permission first, and he's like, we're working on it. I'm sorry about that. And it's interesting when founders and support are in these groups and they're monitoring conversations, trying to stay ahead
for
of
them,
things.
it's free research, man. It's free research, and they should be here and they should be listening to the open-ended, transparent, authentic conversations that are happening. Because I mean, that's like if I were a product owner, let's say I was the owner of, I'm trying to think of a tool. Okay, so there's a tool I just posted in the group. I said, you guys heard of Tube Sifter or something like that? I can't remember the name of it. But anyway, that tool. You are Satoshi. Are you the guy that invented crypto? Bitcoin.
He's like, I had a different name. I had a different Japanese name, so I was like, hey, Satoshi. I was like, you know what?
Hey, he's my new best friend.
What was I going to say? Anyway, if I was one of those tool owners and I was seeing how much, if I knew somebody else was getting like $1,000 a month for their tool, well, guess what? I'm going to make my tool do exactly what that tool does. And I'm going to make sure that whatever people are complaining about with my tool, I'm going to make sure that they get rid of those things. Why wouldn't you if you're the product owner? It just makes no sense to me that people would persist in allow people to get frustrated with their tool.
Yeah, Wynne, I completely agree with you. You have these basically we're beta testers for a lot of these tools, in the LTD community. And I know the LTD community could be a little insane. We're a little bit, we get crazy at times and we want a lot of
On
things.
cocaine, man, on cocaine. That's what it reminds me of.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah.
LTD cocaine.
It's a wild, when I asked the Surfer founder to come on and let's do an interview in the next couple of weeks here, he's like, yeah, I'll take a crack at it. He's like, I'll get ready. I need a drink or whatever I got to do to get on, with the questions I might get, because he's not used to. Surfer never did an LTD, and he's always like, I'm sick of people
really?
asking
So
me.
he's actually going to come on.
Yeah. He said he would like to do interview with us, and if Wynne, if you want to come on, and he'll run through the whole thing. And I would love that you two are on, because I might just be like, this is so cool. My favorite, founder, Surfer, my favorite tool, SEO tool. I'm talking to you right now. I'll be a fanboy.
Yeah.
I want to keep it kind of neutral and just listen to what he has to say. So. But he will come on. He wants to take a crack. Awesome. He said, I want to take a crack at that LTD community. I want to see what kind of questions they have, and where we can go. And
man. That'd be cool.
No,
so Ruhani says he can join us for a bit.
Yeah, he is going to join us. I've sent him the link. Now I have
awesome.
to create a scene here, and I'm going to update the names. So bear with me. But we're going to get him on. I've sent you the link. Ruhani, go ahead and check your messenger. Most welcome to join.
Plugins. Let's talk about plugins real quick before Ruhani gets on. Yoast, Rank Math, Squirrely. Those are kind of like the big ones. Is there any others that I've missed?
Yoast would definitely be the way to start. I in my opinion, Rank Math I think is got a great marketing team behind it, outreach, and Squirrely is excellent. But Yoast does so much with the redirection tool included, and to optimize, pages. So,
hey, so now we have different names here. Let me just quickly correct these names.
Hey, I'm Patrick.
Yes, these are names from.
I'm Upticks. Now we have different names here. Upticks. Let me just quickly correct these names. Cold outreach email. I want to sell. That's a great tool. Upticks. Buy Upticks. I'm Patrick.
Yeah, Upticks. I've only just started playing with it. It looks pretty great.
It is pretty cool.
Hey, there is some echo. Just give me 1 minute here. Let me get the names right, and we will get started. Okay.
We shall call you Dan.
Hey Dan. So yeah, wow.
If somebody has a video playing on the back end, so I can hear an echo.
Ruhani, do you have your Facebook open maybe with the video playing?
Oh yes.
That's it.
Yeah,
I've done that before.
If you mute it, you're good. Oh, let me. 1 second. I made an error here. 1 second.
Yeah, I've done that. If you mute it, you're good.
Are we good? Excellent. Okay. Okay, so welcome, Ruhani. Thanks for joining. I mean...
yeah, of course.
Are we good?
Yep, I think we're good.
Okay. I still hear echo.
Welcome, Pirini. Thanks for joining.
Yeah, of course. Yep, I think we're good.
I still hear echo. Do you hear the playback echo?
Yeah. Oh, what happened?
I think he maybe jumped out and then kind of jumped back in again. I don't know. Something weird happened there. That's a bugger. Oh, just when you got all our names right, he jumped back out again.
He'll come back. He'll come back.
Come back.
He might have his Facebook open playing at the same time, so you'll get the feedback.
Yeah.
Come back, Ruhani. Come back.
Don't leave us.
Don't leave us.
There he is. Hey.
There you are. Hey.
I think there was 2 tab open, and that
That was
made
it.
the issue. Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Okay. So Ronnie, how long have you been working on WP Optimize? And
Since 2009.
since 2009.
Wow.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Wow.
Later,
Wow.
2016, I handed it over to Updraft Plus. The backup plugin. Yeah.
Yes, Updraft Plus. Yes, it's quite a popular plugin as well. So,
Yeah.
are you working on
I love
Updraft
Updraft. I love
Plus
that.
as well?
I am actually providing them product feedback mainly now, but I didn't give the right to change the name. I wanted to stay with the name, even though I'm not coding it, but I want to be involved in the product direction going forward.
For
That's
WP
good. That's smart.
Optimize.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
That's
So,
smart.
do you
'Cause
are
your name is
you like is are you do you own a stake in WP Optimize or
I can't tell that publicly, but yes, something is there. So yeah,
makes sense? Okay.
yeah, a smaller part.
Okay. Okay. Great. Okay. And so yeah, why don't you give some insights into what WP Optimize does and why should people use it?
So I realized when I started my blog in 2003, and within few years, I got into the trouble of MySQL database become very big. Then I realized there were like revisions, there were certain things that are saving that are not going away. So what I did, I wrote the plugin just to help myself. It was me being lazy. I don't want to do repetitive tasks or don't want to go to PHP myadmin to write the code every time. And then I thought this can help others. So I put it up on WP repository. And within, I think, by 2016, it already had 11 million downloads. So
gosh.
it was, but for me, the tough part was doing the support because the product is free. I'm still doing one-to-one support.
Okay, but there is a
It's tough.
premium. There is a premium option, right?
Yes, now it's a premium option, but the core version is still free. And when I gave it to Updraft Plus, I also requested them that this plugin needs to be free. Means
Okay.
the core features people should be able to use without paying.
Okay. So
So
what is
yeah,
included in the premium?
the premium, you can actually schedule your optimization in a much more finer manner that you want it to be exactly at 10 p.m. tomorrow or when your traffic is low. So all this intelligence will come in because some websites, they have certain times traffic low. So you can do the optimization. Maybe their database is 100 megabyte or maybe 300 megabyte. So if you have heavy traffic at the same time you're doing database optimization, it can break the site. So all those intelligence features and now WP Optimize also features image compression and caching engine. So basically, it's sort of like WP Rocket a space.
Yes.
In that space, they move into that space. Previously, it was solely on database optimization. So yeah, for the premium, definitely you get a lot of extra stuff, minify and all the other things you see in other plugins. So I would say for people who are just starting into WordPress and having shared hosting, they can go with WP Optimize. I'm not doing hard sell here, but what I'm trying to say that
Yeah.
it can combine 2-3 utilities into one
Okay.
with less complication. But
Gotcha.
if you ask me, am I using WP Optimize? Yes, I'm using. Of course, I'm using because it's my product. So
Yeah.
I schedule it to clean up the database overhead every week, and it helps. My database is nearly 300 megabyte, and
Wow.
yeah, it helps.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, because
So-
my blog is pretty old. I mean, since 2003, I have so much content.
Wow.
What is your blog?
I think you have verified me from my blog.
Yes, yes, I know. But I
Yeah.
want to talk about
Oh, ruhari.com. Yeah.
yes, yes, Yes. So, I
So
mean,
I have
for
been
anybody
working on
who's
this blog.
listening, yeah, please
Again?
check out his blog. Yes, yes. No,
So what's
I
the
know
name
I
of the blog?
verified you, but I want you to talk for the audience. Yes, yes.
What's the name? What's the link to the blog? Can you post? I'll post it in the
Yeah,
comments there.
sure. Of course.
How do you get to it, Ruhani?
Let
Let's
me
help
post
your
it on the.
SEO. Let's help your organic SEO here. You know, get some link
Social
going.
signals.
Yeah.
Oh yes,
social signal.
I am focusing on organic SEO. That's why I engage sometimes with Joe and now with Wynne, because you guys have been doing great job giving out tips,
Oh, thank
and
you.
Thank
every
you.
day I'm learning from you guys.
Thank you.
Wow.
I mean, I am technical.
Yeah.
I know technology, and I can drill down to very deep insight. Like if you ask me how the Lightspeed server cache is working and what can be done to improvise it. So I deployed many servers on DigitalOcean, Cloudways, and now my own website is hosting on NameHero, which is basically Liquid Web backend. Framework, and they're giving me a peace of mind in a sense that I don't have to go tune so many things, so I can focus on actual work. So it's important for me. But as I said, I have changed
Your
18
site's very
posting.
nice. Your blog. I'm actually looking at it right now.
Yeah, it's really good. I like it. I really like it. It's really clean.
Very clean. To the
Mine
point.
is my policy is simple. It's lean. It's very lean.
Lean.
Yeah.
Yep. Get to the
Yeah,
point.
It
Not
just needs to
busy.
be fast.
Yeah.
Lean
Yeah.
and
Loaded
easy
right
to
away.
look at, eh?
Yeah.
So I am
this,
more
when
about
all this
performance.
praise drama happened, there was a whole host of profiles which didn't have a face
Yes.
or anything, right? So I was like, hey, is that your real name? And then
Did you have a cartoon avatar?
Yes, I had.
See, so we because I interacted with you often, and I remember. And then one day I see you have like
Yes.
a picture now, and I said, "Oh, I think that's my buddy that I talk to all the time." But you never
It's a
see.
really
This is
nice-
what we're talking about with the LTD community. How great it is because you don't know who you're speaking with. You might say, "Oh, I'm helping him. He's helping me," and then next thing you find out, you help create one of the best plugins, out there.
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing.
Rock on, man. Isn't that great?
So I was always nice to you,
Yeah,
right?
I
On
mean,
Facebook.
I still think we need to be humble about it. Like,
Sure. Yeah.
otherwise, how we are going to improve, right? Improve
Yeah.
ourselves.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, you're right
Got it.
about that. Tell that to a few folks in the community.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
That's it. You don't know who you're talking with often, or how far their influence reaches, and not that that's the point, but I mean, one of the great things about podcasting and this kind of format is the power of it to connect people. Like here we are talking. 5 minutes ago you weren't even on here. Now you're here, and we're connected. It's beautiful. I think it's amazing.
Yep. Yes,
Yeah,
yeah,
it really is great.
It is.
So
I'm still learning from
Yeah, because I was reading
SEO
your comments while we were
those
chatting.
sites.
Sorry,
yes.
talked across you there.
So in terms of your experience, what other plugins would you recommend, Ruhani, in terms of, I know you mentioned WP Optimize. Do you keep the plugins, like if you want to add more functionality, do you normally do custom coding? Like, do you use plugins?
So
Or you limit your usage?
certain things.
Yes.
Certain things I do custom coding. So I create a custom plugin for each blog, and it's like a WordPress theme functions file. So I put custom code specific to that website to optimize that website. It doesn't take more than 5 minutes to do the custom coding, because it's like a snippet that I can reuse. From this side, I can copy to that side and that side. So the benefit is you don't install additional plugin for those functions, because sometimes you just use a certain part of a feature that you can actually write the code into. It happened over the years. It doesn't happen instantly. I had to go through so many revisions of the website and fine tune every day and learn more about it. That you load your JavaScripts in the footer, like simple things, so you can have more performance. Those are simple stuff, but it makes changes. And image optimization is it's very, very important, because I have noticed few of our members, on the group, their website is very heavy.
Yes.
Metrics, their score is 21 or less. So it can definitely impact their sales, because they're selling things on their website.
Yeah.
Certainly. Yes. I mean, and one of the biggest mistakes a lot of folks do is like there's a whole host of plugins which they are barely using,
Yes.
and then they will install it and just use a very little part of it, and then
Yes.
leave the plugin, on the site, right? So
Yeah, I can give you one simple example. Like for a lot of people, they don't have time. When you upload something on WordPress for images, for example, it will not generate the image title, alternate tags, or captions. So what you can do, there's a 10 line of code you can put in the functions PHP. Every time you upload an image, it will translate the image file name into text, put it into captions, put it into alternate text and description.
Oh,
Yes.
wow.
So it saves a tremendous amount of time
Yeah.
Yeah.
doing it manually. So I have the code ready. If somebody
Yeah.
needs it, they can text me. I can share it via Pastebin
Yeah,
or
I
something.
would love to, take a look at that. That would be great. I
Yep.
mean, I've been using
It's
more
just
like
10
local Viking
10
and
lines of
stuff like
code.
that to
Yep.
kind of optimize my images.
Another
I see.
observation which I have is, a lot of plugin developers, when it comes to WordPress, right? They're not using WooCommerce. When it comes to selling, everybody's using
Yes.
Thrivecard. You know,
Yeah.
a lot of developers are using Thrivecard. So everybody tries to. When it comes to non-developers around WordPress plugins, everybody's trying to use WooCommerce and all the other plugins and everything.
Yes.
But when it comes to WordPress plugin developers, a lot of them are using Thrivecard, right? Is that because
Yes.
WooCommerce slows it down?
It's actually because they feel flexible, not going through the because WooCommerce is a big ecosystem. You can only look at it like WooCommerce. There is WooCommerce component for this, and when you look in a holistic view, is huge. So as a plugin developer, they do not want to commit to something so huge just to use some of the core features.
Yes.
So they want to reduce the dependency just to make it simplified. And I have been active in the plugin development community, and
Yes.
I learned from them. And this is one of their what the question that you have asked. This is one of their key concerns, that they do not want to commit to use a big framework. They need something lean and transferable.
Yes.
Like tomorrow they want to sell the product to somebody else.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right? They want
Yes.
something lean and that can be customized and live longer, so they can pack it together and give it to the other party.
Yes.
So
And that brings me to that point which you made earlier in the comments. We're too absorbed with tools, not focusing on our businesses. Right? I mean, that's one thing
Yeah.
where it's like,
no,
hey,
I mean we see a lot of comments lately,
yes,
last 2-3 weeks, that
yes,
writer versus paper type versus closure copy versus this. Most of the time I don't give a comment. Reason being, because I feel that it is going to be either waste of my time or the waste of the person who is posting the question. Reason being, he didn't put the context
yes,
where he want
Yeah.
to use it for.
yes,
So if it is there that, okay, I want to use it for marketing copy, oh, very easy. Choose either paper type or writer, right? Or if you want to do blog post writing. Okay, so you can go with phrase, post pace, and server SEO and certain things. So most of the time, their question is kind of in a very wide range.
Very
I
true.
have
Yeah.
seen questions that they ask about 12 different tools which are not related to each other. So it's very difficult to give an answer.
Yeah.
What I
It's
mean by
happening a
this is
lot.
when
Yeah.
you're focusing on so many tools, you are not writing.
Yes.
Right.
The core focus is I am going to write and I'm going to optimize. Then I forgot the whole thing. If you want to know that how it impacted myself, I didn't write in last 12 days. So I am coming from that point that why I didn't do that, because I have been jumping around this and that and that and that, and at the end I didn't write.
Yeah. Fair
So
point.
there's a one practical example from myself that I used to write a lot more, less number of tools.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
This is a
Yes.
this
And
is
I
a
didn't need tools. Like, my whole thing about sales is like, hey, the last thing I need to sell is like tools. Like, what I need is
Yeah.
my skill set and what I'm presenting, right? So people
Yeah.
don't buy products because of the tools you are using.
Mm.
People buy products because how you sell it to them and if they trust
Mm.
you or what you can deliver, right? Pure and simple. I mean, so yes, very valid point. So going back to our WordPress conversation, so I mean, so Thrivecart is the preferred option. Whenever I've purchased a plugin, it's
Yeah.
Thrivecart. It's never WooCommerce. And
No,
interesting.
as I said, it is much more easier to integrate with Thrivecart than WooCommerce, because WooCommerce changes policies, they changes coding structure so frequently because it's open source market. So
Yes.
there
Yeah.
are code contributors. There's thousands of code contributors. So now I wrote a
interesting.
plugin. I call this API from WooCommerce, and I sold my plugin to 15 of my clients. Now what happened? WooCommerce just updated their code structure and they pushed it out live, and my plugin broke. So now I am so stressed because 15 of my clients, they're constantly calling me, my purchasing system doesn't work, my money is not going through. So I am in panic that how am I going to solve it. So what Thrivecart is doing is good, because they stack the changes, so they let the developers know, we have upcoming changes 3 months ahead, that the things that will major changes in the plugin. So you should start refactoring your code before we send it live.
Mm-hmm.
Now, WooCommerce is the other way. WooCommerce doesn't really inform the developers because they don't even know who is calling the API.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
for Thrivecart, it's a closer community connected with the developers. It's much more
Yeah.
easier to handle.
Interesting. Interesting.
And
Yeah.
even some other plugin developers, they don't even go for Thrivecart. They will uh, create a smaller portion of the Thrivecart using their libraries, their open source libraries. They have some open source libraries. So they do not want to commit to what do you call that, heavy system for their plugins.
It's really interesting.
I mainly use
Um,
WooCommerce, but it is a headache.
No,
yeah.
I mean it
If I've been,
changes. It changes frequently. That's
Yeah,
the.
it does.
I mean that's the pros and cons both, because
Yeah.
you want the open source product to move faster, but at
Yep.
the same time, if you depend on it in certain sense, it might break your dependency by changing the
Yeah.
code. So yeah, it's
And plus,
pros
you
and
need
cons
that.
both.
There's so many add-ons, with my clients for
Hmm.
WooCommerce that they don't take into account. The UPS, FedEx shipping plugin, the
Yes.
address verifier add-on. It's great. Like you said, it's open source. There's so many tools out there that you can add to WooCommerce, but it becomes a headache. It becomes, the client's like, wait, I didn't know I needed this. And then they also, which is funny, they think once they have a shopping cart store on their website that it will do everything for them. They don't have to worry about boxing. They think the computer is going to come out and tape the package for them and ship it out. Like, you got to do a little work as well. There's no plugin for that. Not yet.
In my real life, in my real life job, previously I worked with banking and I launched e-commerce startup locally in Malaysia. So I get to learn about, because I was in the charge of product director. So I get to know about things that e-commerce is not about e-commerce front end. There is back end, there is customer service, there is supply chain management, there is delivery management, means which delivery agent will pick up the parcel from the warehouse, or if it is from the vendor. So all these management systems are all together is e-commerce, not only the purchase features. That's just the front end.
Exactly. Many, it seems, they don't understand that everything that goes into it. And are you ready to scale when the orders come in?
Yes.
They think, all right, you built the website, you got the store going, we're ready to go. And then they say, oh, wait, I have to go to the UPS, the post office, and drop the package off. And then, I didn't calculate that I could fit, 3 items in one box. And if someone orders 12, the expense goes up, and all of that. And then the refund process and everything else, customer support. You need to have that system in place as well. That team, of individuals.
Yes.
I don't know if there's a tool that can do it all. I know there's plenty of plugins.
There is not. There is individual teams.
Human factor.
Do it.
The AI hasn't gotten that good yet.
No.
I
am using AI from all these tools, but if you ask me honestly, my posts, how much I have used AI is about 20%.
Yeah.
So
that's quite a lot.
I write a full paragraph. Now I want to add something to it. I will use the AI.
Mm-hmm.
Then another paragraph halfway, I'm stuck. I wanted to write another 2 more sentences. I will use the AI. But I will never use the AI to write the whole thing. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not good.
Yeah.
Yes, it is not. And if everybody starts doing it, and I'm not like, you want to read authentic, genuine, blogs written by a human being, right? Like if I'm reading blogs written by a copy tool, I don't want to read them, to be honest with you. Yes, I want to create a copy with an AI tool, but I wouldn't want to go and read a blog which is completely generated by.
I think we all prefer to read something that you have written. Means there need to be a persona into it.
Yes.
This comes back down to the question of, what's the intention behind everything that you're doing? So you're doing search engine optimization, you're doing content generation, you're doing all of these activities, but what's the intent at the end of the day? The intent is to build a real business where you're dealing with real people who are going to buy real things off you. And if all you're doing is creating gobbledygook that somehow magically gets ranked in Google and doesn't give you these results, then it was a pointless exercise, And so people miss the point often when we've got to think about what are people experiencing when they're interacting with your brand. That's hugely important, So what kind of value is getting transmitted between me, my content, and the things that I have out there on the internet, and people making a decision about me? Do they trust me? Do they think that I'm an authority? Do they think that I'm capable of solving their problem? If the answer is not yes to all of those, then why bother?
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with this.
So, Ruhani, the obvious question, right? Like you develop WP Optimize. Is there going to be a lifetime deal for that? You are in the LTD community, so do you have a
Uh,
pull?
so I had a discussion with them because they are the decision makers since majority of the share has been given to them.
Yes.
Um, so they are not looking at it right now, but I'm trying to push it because it kind of inspired me. This LTD community also inspired me that w- what can be applied. Like we make in my company where I work, we also make SaaS products for enterprises.
Yes.
So telcos and their backends, and they have internal SaaS that we develop. And I started to think that if we want to sell these in SaaS model, we should start with LTD to bring in the people, bring in the traffic, and also at the same time we collect the user feedback. So it's a great way of doing it. I have talked with them last week, and they are thinking about it. But they also have their management hierarchy that they had to get permission from. So let's see how it comes out. I will update you guys about this.
Okay. Yes. Keep us posted for sure. I mean, it is a great plugin. You've done a phenomenal job with it for sure. It's a very massively popular plugin. Lots of active installations and just the pro version. How long has the pro version been available? Actually.
Um, just 2.5 years.
Okay. 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 So fairly still new, right? So we can. I mean,
Fairly new. Yes.
yes, we should certainly, and one of the things which when we win and me when we start, basically we want to grow this community into something more around adoption practice and evolve it
Mhm.
into not just like we want to make it much bigger, right? So
Yes.
uh, you know definitely having folks like Joe, you, and coming on this is like so much, like I mean, I would say, I'm gaining so much from having and listening to you folks, right? Like, so I'm sure everybody is. So I appreciate you guys being part of the community and coming on and sharing some of the things which your first-hand experience, right? So
No, of course. I mean, the whole reason of me joining today also because I have learned so much from you guys. Is the truth, and it's never ending. My learning process.
Wow,
well,
thank you.
we're certainly very humble, and it's very nice of you to say that.
Yeah.
Yes. Wilson is
No,
saying,
I mean, beside humbleness, I think the moment we think that we know everything, that's the point we stop our improvement.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
yes.
Yes. I've been preaching that a lot, especially in the art world and teaching people how to paint and draw. And
Yep.
we touched on this last time. Monet is one of my favorite painters, the Impressionist painter Claude Monet. I don't know if you've seen his work. And he had a quote saying, "Once, we never stop learning until we're gone."
Yep.
We always are pushing ourselves, and the day that you think you know everything, you may as well hang it up. You're not
Yep.
going to improve, you're not going to go anywhere.
Yes.
I agree with that fully. You never know who you're talking to on Facebook. You never know any advice. That we talked about it yesterday. We did the 3-hour SEO, extravaganza, and I kept saying I'm not an expert. I'm not an expert. I don't know. If people out there, they might give me feedback, and I don't even know what they know, and they're giving me some advice as well that is very helpful. So I think people like yourself are great for the community. You provide value, and I always knew when I was in a thread and you would show up. I remembered that you had that other avatar, a different name, and I said, "Wow, this guy, he knows a lot." And I always liked your comments, and we always had good interactions, and I never knew who you were. what product you were producing, and at the optimization wise, I now that I know, I want to pick your brain all the time.
Yeah.
No, I'm open to pick my. You are always open to pick my brain. The
Hey, and I
reason
want to do
I
a
had a
like a
different name.
dedicated live session with you on
Yeah.
SEO.
You
the
should
next 3 hour
just do a
session is
session.
with you, Ruan. I'm just kidding. But whenever you have time, yeah, continue.
Yes.
Yeah.
We lost him.
No,
No, he's there.
he's here. Are you here? Can you hear us?
Yes, I'm here. I'm here.
Okay.
But I have to go out for groceries soon in 5 minutes.
Okay.
What kind of groceries are you getting? What are you picking
Yeah,
up? You
just
need,
usual one.
lunch?
More vegetables and less meat.
Yeah, vegetables. Yeah, where me and Wynne are working on growing our own crops in our backyard.
Oh wow!
I've been
That's
working.
cool.
I've been working on tomatoes.
Yeah,
and
story.
I think they're doing okay.
Yeah, and my wife, she's a gun. She we got these tomatoes and lettuces and cabbages. We've got them growing all over the place on our patio. It's great.
Take it over.
Hey, thank you guys. Thank you for including me.
Thank you for coming on.
Thank you. Thanks a lot for joining. Next time,
Yes, of course.
I'm going to message you and we'll do like a 3-hour SEO special session with you, Ruhani. Right?
Just with you.
Just you.
Yeah. Enjoy your weekend. Take care. Thanks a lot for joining, Ruhani.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a good night, guys.
Ronnie.
Take care.
Thank you.
A lot. Bye.
Bye.
So Joe and Wynne, don't go anywhere, okay? We're still on.
No, I still got 4 hours left in me. I'm good. I got got my team. I'm good. I'm just warming up until my wife calls me to come upstairs again. To help with the children. They're sleeping finally. I think.
What time is it there? Must be 12:30.
It's 12:21 a.m. And Scarlett, the 2-year-old, fell asleep about midnight. And the 4-year-old is trying to go to sleep right now. So she might make an appearance. Yeah, I have a 4-year-old that doesn't want to sleep.
There you go.
And she's a creative. So definitely my daughter. She's not just got the loves crayons and draw all day and night, but she's wired like a creative where she gets more energy at night. I noticed that she's drawing more in the evening, late hours, and that seems to be tied in with that creative mentality. I'm trying to get her to go to bed earlier, and she'll be starting pre-K in 2 weeks. So that'll probably get her on a better schedule, that she wakes up much earlier, gets tired, hanging out with all the kids, and then hopefully will go to bed earlier than her father goes to bed.
So getting some comments here, Joe. Already picked up on Dad's sleeping patterns. She's just like you, Joe.
Yeah, I mean, Gene knows, Wilson knows, Ram, all the people in the LTD community, my friends in India, China. You guys know I'm awake. They say, "Wait, aren't you in New York? Why are you talking to us at 4 a.m.? New York time?" I said, "Yeah, I have an issue. I can't go to bed."
Crazy.
Yeah.
Definitely. Where are we at? What are we talking about now? We've talked about themes. We've just got the download of Doom as far as technical WordPress stuff goes. Where did we get to?
Yeah, we just had that. That was great that he popped on. I mean, I noticed in Ruhani in the comments was you could tell he knew what he was talking about. And I said right away, we have to get this guy on because he knows obviously about WordPress compression. And then he's working on the plugin. Look at that.
Hey, funny thing about Ruhani is he won the tier 3 Voxo account.
No, he didn't.
Are you still watching it? I was like, hey, Ruhani, you won the Voxo account tier 3, right? So good for him. Yes, I just wanted to mention that in there.
Very nice guy. Very cool to get him on camera. That was great.
Yeah, it's very nice. Very nice.
You never know. You got to tune in. You got to tune in every night when we're on because you never know who will show up. to the interviews.
Absolutely, and that's what we when we are streaming, I want to get folks involved to come in and join and share it, right? Because, and I mean, collectively, it's a lot for us to learn, but at the same time, uh, you get to know the people, right? Like, I mean, now suddenly, that hey, this guy has done something which is very unique, right? I mean, he's developed a plugin which is used by millions of people.
And not only that, but he was involved with Updraft.
Yes.
Updraft was one of the tools I was going to discuss tonight. It's not really an SEO as much tool, but it's one of the top WordPress backup tools that you can have.
Wow.
To back up your WordPress website and schedule it and connect it with your Dropbox or Google Drive. I actually switched over to the LTD, the backup guard. Do you know the one that came to AppSumo? I believe backup guard, which is pretty decent. But at the other agency I'm working on now, we're just using Updraft. It's the most reliable backup tool you can have. Unless your server, you're hosting like SiteGround, they provide backups. But Updraft is excellent. So he's also, I guess, involved with Updraft with that company.
Yes, certainly. I mean, Updraft is a very, very popular tool. And so Corey is saying, I aspire to be like Joe. That's a good compliment.
Thank you, Corey. Corey, I aspire to be like Corey because I don't know if you guys have taken a look at Corey's show. He has a very and Nilesh, I think I sent it over to you a few weeks ago. He has a show with a friend of his, and I think it's great. It's produced so great. They have a good chemistry. They have a good time on it. The production value is excellent. Corey has offered to help me with my lighting situation, just like you need, and
what's Corey's show? Joe, what's the show? Tech show.
It's Corey, tech. Corey, put it in the comments. I know it's a tech show. I think it's a lab tech show. He shares it often. I'm trying to help him. I'm going to help him with the SEO to try to get it, out there more in groups, because he does have a good show. They talk about everything. They talk about the more, not just the software. He says he's more new to the LTD community, but more tech. More about the phones and the cameras and the equipment, everything. It's a good show. It's a lot of fun. I'd like to have him. We should get him on one night as well. Corey.
Tech setup.
Certainly. Podcast. I mean, more than welcome. We should definitely get Corey on.
Great guy. Yeah.
He's Corey. So thanks, Ronnie. I think that's your comment there. I hope we can do another session, a longer session with you, where we can mute Joe and Wynne, and then I can just ask you questions. So just kidding.
Definitely mute me whenever you guys want.
Just kidding. I'm just kidding. You guys are great. Who won the writer giveaway? So, Corey. So when we finished the writer, session this morning, I emailed Abhi. So he hasn't got back to me. I haven't done the draw actually, and so I'm waiting on him. I think it's probably late at night in India, and then today is weekend. So I'll give him some time. He's gonna get back to me, and we'll do the giveaway live. So every giveaway we do it live, and we will do the same for here. When I talked to Abhi, he mentioned that, hey, I'm gonna do like 5 to 10 licenses. So it was about 25,000 limit. I don't know exactly how many. I'm assuming 10, so that a lot more people win. But we haven't done the giveaway yet, to be completely transparent. Once we do that, then you will know for sure. We'll go live and do it. Yes, hey. with that, I think you boys are on course for the record show length tonight. Now, maybe not just in tonight. Maybe we'll do it some other day where we start a little bit early and do it, because I have I have to do another one tomorrow at 11 in the morning with Jenny, and so I'm not sure, Joe, if you're going to join on that one, but Wynne, you're not going to join on that one. So we're going to wrap this up in the next 10 to 15 minutes, if that's okay.
Oh man, just getting started. Kidding.
Is that okay, or do you wanna go on?
No, whatever you guys think. I'm good.
Yeah.
All right. So what else is there left to talk about WordPress?
Oh, there's plenty to talk about for sure. I mean, we can do a lot of deep dives, and I can bring in my Prezi into Ecamm and talk about some of the pointers as well. But we do that in the next few sessions. I mean, this we're just going to go through overview, and then maybe we do certain deep dives. What do you think, guys?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've kind of covered a lot of things, and it would be good, like you said, for the SEO end of it, to do one session on just link building, one thing on citations. We could do a thing on just branding and logo design. Just Wynne, like YouTube, YouTube optimization. Go with that. How to set up for video lighting. Nilesh, we can help with that. Do one course on how to position your lights. Do you have the lights directly on you or reflect off the ceiling? Which products to use. We could go over tools for a session. I think it is good we could have like a weekly roundup, but then here and there maybe have like one or two video sessions that are just focused on one task. Really focus on it for an hour or less. Keep it simple and just focus on that, because we're talking about so many things, which I love. I enjoy it, but I know people are probably tuning in and they might say, hey, I'm here for, talk about video, and I want to hear about WordPress, or I want to hear about the SEO or whatever. And they're like, wait, you only talked about that for 5 minutes. And then Joe went off on a tangent, and Wynne is playing a guitar in the corner. What are we doing here? But I'll go with whatever everybody in the community, what you guys want to talk about, and how we can set it up. Like we could eventually actually use the vLoud LTD, which I full stacked, hoping to use for courses or something, and we could have a channel set up for this for a certain station.
I had vLoud as well, but I ended up refunding it.
I kept it. And it's a little risky. I don't know if hope it doesn't turn out to be one of those lame duck LTDs and goes under.
What is it good for? What's that one good for?
Basically, you can have ongoing channels. You could stream. You could set up. I know Corey's actually playing around with it as well. But you can set it up as channels. You can stream to it, and you could have the channels be ongoing and live of recorded video. So if we did a channel on SEO, we did a channel on video, we did a channel on YouTube, et cetera, anything, they would always be playing. And we'd have a website set up for that. So people could tune in, have programming like TV Guide, and you could also stream it to your Roku player. We can get it on Roku on a TV, which will work with a Dillo. Vadu TV can't do it yet. Dillo can. And that's a whole nother conversation.
So your full
video tools.
What did your full stack give you?
Yeah. I full stacked. I went in. There's a gentleman, Constantine, I believe his name is, and he might be in this group. And he is someone to talk to as well. He's a good VidLoud video expert, and he's been using it a lot. I know Corey's been playing around with it. He says he's still trying to figure out how to get it on Roku, And Corey and I, we actually got on the phone the other day because he wasn't sure if he should keep his video account with with one platform or switch over to Adillo.
I see.
VidLoud is Corey's like, let's talk VidLoud. Yeah, we have to do something about that because a lot of people, they want to know. I mean, I know the deal ended, correct? It's done on AppSumo, but people are still very interested. It has a very, very high ceiling, a lot of potential.
Really?
Okay.
When you talk about potential, you obviously bought it because you could see their potential. What did you see when you bought it? What potential could you see for developing?
I was, that's why I also collected a lot of LMS teaching course tools, video tools. Why I've been collecting all these video tools. Before I started this new job as a digital marketing, manager, I was about to pivot Loud Egg, my creative agency, into an online course website. I wanted to go in that direction, which was going to be to teach, and I'm still going to do this, to teach people how to build their own websites in WordPress with different themes, help with SEO, digital marketing, and also with the art, cartoons, illustration, everything. I was going to, play around with it just to make it something different, to provide value information, because as an SEO, I see the people that get rewarded the most are the ones that provide some sort of online media, information, and not look for sales right away. So I thought VLoud was going to be ideal for this because I could put basically a TV station on my website with channels, and people could come in and they could view what they wanted to and program, and then I could capture that audience and direct them through my website. So that was the goal of that.
Okay. Yeah. I've given this a lot of thought too. Similar kind of thinking.
I did.
And with the YouTube. Wynne, I definitely want to pick your brain about that as well with YouTube.
Yeah, I did buy VLoud, and then I thought, okay, maybe for something like streaming content or bringing my channel onto Roku or Amazon Fire was probably later in the stage, and at that
Me too.
thing I could think of. And then I thought, okay, well, Bunny CDN is really reasonable, and it is going to be around. Like, I don't want to have like terabytes and terabytes of data, because once you're recording in 4K in Ecamm, it really does add up quite a bit. And you can, I'm not sure where Wadu TV and VLoud is going to be. I mean, I'm most certainly hope that they're going to be around, and they're very, very successful companies because of the. But when you start streaming, and it's extremely bandwidth consuming, and you're going to have CDNs and multiple locations for CDNs, and it's an expensive affair, right? I mean, I'm not sure how the user experience is going to be for all these LTDs. The storage, of course, there is a recurring cost associated with it. So once you really start using that 3 terabytes of space with water, and I'm not sure how many people are actually going to use it and going to create that level of content, but when you start recording in 4K, 3 terabytes is not much. You can run out of it pretty quickly. And then what are you going to do? Now you're going to have data on 2 separate platforms, and, or with VLoud as well. So
when it comes to these kind of technologies with video and streaming and messaging, real-time everything, my intuition, and I don't know if I'm right or not, but my intuition tells me that pay per use is the way to go. And the reason I say that, I mean, when I'm thinking that, I'm thinking about Google Cloud. I'm thinking about services like that. For video, I'm thinking about Mux, MUX, and there are CDN services out there, but like Mux is an amazing one with an API-driven access. So you build just go to muxmux.com to see what I'm talking about.
Mux is quite popular, yes.
But my intuition tells me that use some kind of front end application, whether it's React or Firebase or something like that. Even if it's a lifetime deal that you get off AppSumo, but have it so it sits on top of some kind of technology like that. I just feel as though that kind of approach is more appropriate, especially as you start to scale that thing out. And I know that's not what everyone here is looking for, but if I'm looking at building an enterprise, let's say a learning system like you're talking about, Joe, or and you're wanting to build it out into different TV channels that people can engage with, different categories. That's the direction because once you here's the problem, right? When you invest in a technology, it's like an octopus. So you got all these tentacles all interwoven into something. And we've all everybody here has been through that. Like us three, you build out this amazing technology and then it kind of gets out of date, and then you have to unhook everything, and then you've got to rebuild it somewhere else. And
So
man,
true.
it was just an absolute headache. This is why my thinking has kind of led me towards the Google Cloud approach, is because as you build that thing out, it's scaling with you. You got everything there.
It'll always be there. Yeah,
it's always going to be.
That'll
there.
be your core. And you're right.
The nominal cost is not that much. For a video play, it's really not that much. And then your metrics just have to make sense. You just have to understand how much is a view worth to you. Your analytics is going to tell you how much a view is worth to you, and it should be more than what you're paying for it, and all that kind of stuff. So as long as you got that sorted out, your business should grow comfortably.
Yeah. So Corey, people don't understand they don't need to shoot 4K. Most people are watching on their phone or laptop. I completely agree.
Sure.
So you don't do 4K for streaming, especially because it's extremely bandwidth consuming.
Sure.
And things
it's more
of
like
that
480.
But 1080p, yes, for sure. But if you look into YouTube, it does support 4K, and it's already there, and the experience is different. So if you are into North American market, like European market, I mean, not all locations would have 4K, but YouTube can optimize that video and provide you that experience. So you don't need to shoot in 1080p and give the same experience to everybody. YouTube will know exactly what kind of device he's on, and what resolution they should be showing that user the video, right? So it's, if you have auto settings, and most users do, that will do it for you. But maybe 5 years from now, when 4K becomes the de facto standard, you don't want to go back and say, "Oh, man, I should have recorded that video."
That's right. You can't go back. You can't fix it. Well, you can use AI to do that now, but it's extremely expensive to go through all your videos and have it upscale everything. But
yeah. So I'm not talking about streaming, because it's not possible for me to, but when you're recording a video without streaming, for sure, I mean, 4K is my option, and then you can upload it on YouTube. However, I mean, and you can make that money. For 5 years from now, 10 years from now, people will still watch that video. In some cases, it can be a relevant video, especially if it's a recipe or something like that. If it's a technology related video, nobody's going to watch your MacBook M1 Pro video for 10 years from now, because it's obsolete, right? But if it's a recipe, you're talking about, butter chicken, then probably you're going to get 4K video is going to get a lot more views even after 5 years. So really depends. And for that reason, I mean, I think, paid option would be the way to go, especially if you're producing a lot of content, because just moving data, uploading it, that's a time consuming process. Last thing you want to hear is like, hey, we are closing, it's not sustainable for us. And now suddenly, like, oh, now I got to move like 3 terabytes of data. but the provider hasn't paid the bill. So, how do I get those videos out, right? So, are you going to store it on your hard drive? Probably yes as well. But anyway, it's something which to think about.
Alrighty.
Wilson.
Wilson Stanius.
Wilson's my buddy.
Alrighty. Is that us?
That would be us, I think. Corey, we can certainly get you on. I know you're very passionate about video. Wilson, we should get you on as well. Tell us what you do, and I'm sure a lot of folks can benefit from your things you want to share, right? So we want to cover everybody and get people more engaged, and
Yeah, let's keep doing this.
Okay, so with that, I think we are good for today. Lots of good discussion, guys. I know everybody likes to. This is like WordPress and SEO is like such a massive topic. We can do that again, maybe depending on how you guys are for the weekend. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. But I have a session tomorrow at 11 as well, so feel free to join. Whoever is going to be here. Cool?
Cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
I'm around.
Thanks everyone for joining us. Thanks, Neelish and Joe.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Joe.
Yeah. Thanks,
Thanks a
Neelish and Wynne. You guys are the
Fantastic.
best. And
Really
Gene,
amazing.
Corey, Wilson, the whole crew, the whole community, Jason, everybody.
Mason.
Yeah. Thanks to everyone. Have a wonderful weekend, and we are going to be live again in less than 10 hours. So. Okay.
Yeah, with Jenny in the morning.
Yes. Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Adios.
Cool, guys.
All right.
Here comes the music.
Okay.